I'm not sitting down yet, Johnny.
And we're live. Plat chat, episode 163. Sorry, Custa was like 11 minutes late, and so.
No, I've been here.
He's here.
I was here
He's
first.
here.
I
can't believe
my
it.
Coffee. I hate you all.
Way.
All right. I know we're a bit late, guys. It's 10:11. All right, but it's within 15 minutes, and I think that's the acceptable. Sort of like bumper before it gets truly off the goop. So we're a bit late, but in my opinion, as a co-owner of Plat LLC, I deem it fine. So no worries from me, biased, but it's all good. It's all good. What's up? We got a huge episode today, but I am tired. I need to get carried today, guys. I've set up the OBS. I've started the live stream. I've written the show. I just need you three guys to talk. All right? I just need you guys to
doing
talk.
what? You don't have a job. What are you tired
what
from?
do you mean I don't have a job? Yeah, I might not. I am fucking up to doing so much shit all the fucking time. I don't even have time to play video games. Jaws is like, oh, are you gonna play a lot of Overwatch this season? And I'm like, how the fuck do you find time to play fucking video games in this day and age? In 2023, there's no room for entertainment purposes. It's just fucking work and documents and sending emails and meetings and all this shit all the time. I don't understand it. Yeah, I'm fucking tired.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Sure. Sure then. Fair enough. But I'm good. I'm having a good time. I'm good.
Anyway,
All right,
Dave Batista.
All right, good to hear, Avast. I'm glad you feel okay. How was the gym?
Gym was good.
Yeah, what did you do
I went
at
a
the
little
gym?
bit later. I normally finish. I didn't have time to lift today. I just ran, sadly.
Okay.
So just did a lot of running because
Wow.
normally I do Tuesdays. I have time to go to lift beforehand, but today I had a bunch of stuff to do in the morning, so I was not able to. So because I'm also busy, Johnny, as someone that has to go into the office and do work. Okay, we're all busy here. Okay, maybe there's only 2 members of this podcast that aren't busy.
I kind of miss like one of the things that's really nice about the Overwatch League season, even though it was far away, the commute was long for us this past year. Like you go there and like you work there, like you separate life and work in a way. You separate,
nice.
you divide those 2 parts, and you're like, okay, I'm here, I'm at the campus. We're doing Overwatch League today. I am working. I am focusing solely on work. Whereas like at home, it's just like you gotta manage your own schedule and juggle all these things, and it's like I'm a small-minded person in that regard. I need a framework to help me prioritize and align my schedule.
So are you opposed to work from home? Is that what you're saying?
I think it's a subjective choice whether you prefer work from home or you like going into an office.
That's what I'm saying. Are you opposed to it for yourself?
I'm not entirely opposed to it, but I would go into an office, yeah, if it promoted a good work environment and made me more productive.
I agree. I think that's been my experience as well. Is like I don't know. Maybe it's hard because I also don't work a real job, so it's the context is different. But like Sab works a real job, and I can see the cost benefit of yes, you can be more productive from home because you can don't have to have travel time. There's a lot of time wasted when you go into an office, but it is very difficult to stay like actually on track. Like you hear stories of people with like, yeah, I can do little bits and pieces around the house, so therefore I don't have to do it. So I think there's merit to both, and I think you should do whatever the fuck you want, all the employer wants.
I just turn the camera off and load up Overwatch as soon as I'm done casting.
Yeah, that's efficiency, right? Work from home, baby.
That's efficient, baby. I just sit down, take the headset off, put this one on, and boom, I'm in ranked already.
Someone in chat did actually say before he went live, it's like, I wish they talk about Valheim. So this is the one thing I'll say about Valheim. It was an interesting social experiment to see who spent the most time in Valheim wasting their time chasing fucking strawberries and building boats and fishing and shit, and who actually, Avast, was like, I am working. I am a busy individual and I don't have time to load into
Well, the thing is, I do have time. But the thing is, I have time on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's 2 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday afternoon, and everyone's like, okay, time to hop in. I'm like, I fucking can't. My ass is at the office right now. I'm doing shit. I can't right now.
Do you want the hours stats?
Let us see.
Yeah, I'm sure I have like 8 hours, like 8-9 hours total. Everyone else is like 20.
Panel?
No. It's just on my friends who played Valheim recently. So I'll start from the bottom. Who's fucking surprised? Connor at 11 hours.
Fucking
and then coming in just above Connor, 20 hours with Josh.
Yeah.
Josh played 20 hours. Scott, You were 31 hours. Johnny, by the way, you don't even appear on this list.
No, I'm not your friend, I think.
Epic.
Damn, that's fucked up.
That's
kind of fucked up.
Myself, I put in 31 hours as well, I believe.
Why did it sound like you lied? Just like,
well,
I'll lower
it's
it a bit.
because I can't tell mine because I've also played other games and it doesn't show me on that list.
All right.
I'm guessing about maybe 35 hours, maybe. And coming in at rank 1, number 1,
Fucking
Timothy
Bren.
Larder, otherwise known as Bren. 47 hours total in Valheim. Yeah.
Well,
The thing is,
Bren,
Josh doesn't even have an
Don't really
excuse.
shock
He
me.
just isn't playing. Like he's just playing other shit. Like he
just
has
plays
the
other
time to
shit,
be in there.
yeah.
He just plays. He's been trying to beat like Melania and fucking Elden Ring for like 40 hours. And I think
Yeah,
he,
he played that for a
Racing
very
Dark,
long
right?
time.
Yeah. Bren is
Yeah.
also like the most full, well, Custa's here, and you know, Joss, you do that too. But like Bren is actually like streaming every day, like long sessions. So
Yeah, Brent's
if he,
yeah.
Well, I stream Monday to Friday, so the time, like literally, I don't stream on the weekends because that's when I do other things that isn't streaming.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Also, Bren streams in the morning, and like
Yeah.
you don't stream in the morning, I don't stream in the morning. Bren gets up, hits the goes live button. and
he's also
streams
live for
hours,
way
so-
longer than I am ever
Oh,
am
yeah,
as well.
he's-
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking
He's
up
the
his
biggest
VODs
streamer
right
ever.
now.
Yeah, Bren has that degens. He has what it takes to
Yeah.
potentially make it because he doesn't care about like his body or his mental health. He's like, I'm gonna stream.
Yeah.
Like I will stream today.
Yeah.
Like, and I will
7:30,
continue to
11
stream.
hours, 11 hours, 7 hours,
Yeah.
6 hours,
Can't
5,
compete
9,
with that.
9,
No,
12
yeah,
hours.
Dude, that's
Okay, realistically though, that is actually one of the things that like a lot of people want to become content creators, especially kids these days. The number of kids that I come up to and they're like, when I grow up, I want to be a content creator with YouTube. The number of hours that you have to put in these days to like make yourself ahead at like different to everyone else is like actually ridiculous. Like you have to be putting in at least 8 hours a day, like 6 days a week to like really
Yeah.
start hitting the algorithm in a lot of ways.
You have to
There
you
was
have to
a-
work so hard, such long hours, but you also simultaneously have to work smarter when it comes to like
Yeah.
discovery algorithms and like fun content and like organizing topics and gaming. Dude, it's so hard to be a great
Yeah.
content creator. It's
And you
insane.
can't take breaks. That's the craziest thing that like I think a lot of them struggle by. Like that's why so many of them usually make content out of their like holidays and stuff like that is because like you can't really just like take multiple weeks off. Like you lose so much, and watching your numbers go down is like one of the worst feelings as a content creator when you're like, I was at this number or like sub count, and then it is no longer that high. It's like, ugh.
Or you just plateau as well.
Yeah,
kind
or
of
you
reached
plateau.
The
Yeah.
audience. If
I mean,
if you're
the
in-
reality is
in
you're not
one
gonna like,
game,
even
right?
though Bren's putting in 12 hours a day, it's unlikely he's gonna like blow up to like Tim the Tatman size unless he like fucking
No.
does something crazy like with the YouTube
Yeah.
and such. Like, because Twitch is a terrible platform to grow on. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like-
I did a fucking 3-hour episode with Bren, like the deep dive thing, which I've done on my YouTube, and it 3 fucking hours, and we talked about that, and I was saying like it's insane. Like Twitch is a kingmaker platform. Like if you're at the top, you're gonna stay at the top, and you'll get more viewers because you're at the top. Bren's in like the top 5,000 streamers or something, and he gets an average of 200 views. And like that's to put that into perspective, there are like millions and millions and millions of streamers on the platform that get 2 viewers.
I think if you make like
One
$100
It's
a
ridiculous.
month from Twitch revenue, you're in the top 1%. essentially.
Yes.
So
100%, baby.
Yeah.
like if
Big
you're
fucking
making
guys.
like if you're making like enough money to pay for like a single car insurance payment for the year or like 6 months depending on where you live really
Yeah.
if you're like in California or something, then you're like here like that's like for 6 months for me at least. It's like because South Florida for some reason is fucking ridiculous. Yeah, you're top 1%. You are the 1% then.
Yeah.
Eat the rich.
You could even
You
stretch
earn
that down to, if
$1,200
you
of revenue.
ever receive a paycheck from Twitch, you're probably in the top like fucking what? Oh, it's very silly.
Yeah.
It's very silly.
So this is the start of our marketing podcast, and we're going to discuss greater growth and revenue models and how would you scale your business.
Let's talk about brand management, Avast. How do you treat your brand? What have you gone about how to expand your brand?
Well, here's the
and make
thing.
it
For the
cater
past
to a
6
greater
months, I haven't
audience?
worked as a brand manager. I've worked as a creative lead and creative producer. It's just my
Oh,
title
that's
hasn't
about
been changed. So it's, it's technically, I do have points for that because I did work for a brand manager for some point. I still do points for that. But now I do an entirely different job than what I was. So technically, I've changed roles 3 times since I've been inside Misfits. And all 3 of them have been, I guess, I don't know. But like, it's essentially... We could give a whole topic on that later. We can
As
do
one
the
of the
brand
most
management segment
popular
later.
co-streamers on the planet, how would you describe your impact on the viewing experience in esports?
I would say taking the idea of co-streaming, which Josh Wilkinson invented. No one else has ever done that before until Sideshow. I think taking that idea and making it better because I'm not British has really amped me up to big heights. I think it's amped me up there to significant heights overall. But the key is to still include British people. You need the British people in your co-stream, but they can't be run by the British.
You just use them in a way.
Has there ever been a case of like an American learning like a British accent or a British person learning an American accent and becoming more popular as a result of?
Well,
I mean, it depends on what do you mean by like that's like essentially just Hollywood.
No, so say like I got my Swedish accent and like some people have told me before that like I'm hard to understand for like some Americans because like we don't understand the Swedish accent. If I had an Australian accent like Custa, would I be more popular?
No, because your Swedish accent makes you.
Yeah, I don't think accents have that much impact.
I don't think people.
What do the accents matter?
No, surely. Like if you like, if I were to ask like Calm, the app like Calm where they like tell stories and like they do soundscapes and like they do like to surely they have like analytics to back up like what accent narrators are like the most popular on the app.
But I think it depends on your profession.
That's also it's also your like voice and like how deep your voice is and shit like that. You're not gonna get a fucking Glaswegian person on the fucking app and you can't find
Glaswegian. Who the fuck is a Glaswegian?
From someone from Glasgow. No one can fucking understand them. You're gonna get someone from fucking Liverpool or Scunthorpe or like fucking
Scunthorpe.
You're just making up words at this point.
I'm making up
Scunthorpe.
Scunthorpe.
My God.
Like,
is this our next D&D campaign? We're gonna be going to Scunthorpe and clearing out the Beastmen.
Can't fucking wait. No, but like you're not gonna get people with like outrageously thick accent, are you?
Someone made we're gonna move on from this by the way, but someone mentioned Hugh. Oh my God, I can't pronounce it. Huge Laurie?
Hugh Laurie?
Yeah.
Hugh Laurie, not Huge Laurie. Huge Laurie. He's really, really big. He's a humongous guy.
We're ending the
He's
fucking
a gigantic
podcast.
man.
I'm over it. I
House.
can't do this.
That's actually what the premise of House was, that he himself could not fit inside the house. That Huge Laurie tried to get in the house and he couldn't get in. He's like, I'm too big. I'm too big for this house.
I can't do it. Here you fucking go. The fucking season 3 came out. Enjoy.
Woohoo!
I can't do it. I can't.
Johnny's too tired, everybody.
I am.
Give him some slack.
I am beyond.
Well, shall we discuss? What should we discuss first?
Look at this shit. Look at this cool shit.
Look at this shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's free to play,
guys.
everybody.
It's free to play. Oh my God! I can't believe it.
Oh, Kiriko Mythic skin. It's bussin'.
It's cool.
It's cool.
It's pretty bussin'.
Quite nice.
Rewards. Junkrat. No one cares.
No, people do care. Junkrat. People care about Junkrat.
I know. People really care.
Have you guys not seen this trailer before?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, we're just reacting to it.
No,
live.
we're just reacting. There it is.
There it is. The Zen skin. The Takoyaki Zen skin looks fucking lit. Takoyaki Zen skin looks fucking cool.
I think all the skins are pretty good though.
Yeah,
I like them all.
Yeah, I like the theme. I like what they.
Man, it's fucking awesome.
The ones they did. Zen has too many good skins. I said this to you earlier, Jack. Zen has too many good skins. It's not
true.
fair.
You can do fishing in this map as well in the spawn room.
That's a cool addition.
You can shoot the penguins, but they don't die, so that's pretty epic.
I did see some people getting mad. They're like, wow, reusing assets? How come this Arctic map looks similar to the other Arctic map? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, well, we're going to have to do a logical deep dive
seen snow,
into that
like,
one.
Yeah, for real.
I'll do a deep dive there. And the One Punch Man collab, there it is.
Potentially one of the biggest things that happened to Overwatch in a long time.
That's the biggest collab they've ever done since. I think is this their second ever collab since like Lego?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah,
they've only done like 2 collaborations in the history of Overwatch. I think if you exclude them using like their own products, because they had like the Heroes of the Storm skin that you did, remember?
Yeah, the only
but that was their own product. So like this is their, I think if I'm remembering properly, this is their second ever external like their IP collaboration,
which is fucking great. That's what we need more of, is like external collabs.
Yeah,
because it so fucking popular.
If you can harness the power of weebs, I think this game could be incredible. I think the thing that's what you don't understand. Every big game is fueled by weebs. Weebs and E-daters are like literally run online gaming.
Genshin Impact.
So
and now we literally have a
dating sim too.
well.
Yeah.
We have a fucking dating sim now. Like that's sick.
It's 100%. Like like
The
we are
Tinder
finally
watch is
hitting
real.
the target demographics that are going to launch this game to the next. Because like those are, you don't understand. Like, have you ever seen the meme of like all the soldiers like holding up like the island and like their society situated on the island and they're fighting back? That's online gaming, but the people holding up the island are weebs and e-daters.
Yep.
That's literally how it works. So like we can finally achieve
Tinder Watch
commercial
is
success. I
real.
mean, yeah, Tinder Watch is real. Like it's
real.
we've made
It's
it.
finally fucking real. It's been in custom games forever, and now finally you can date your favorite characters from the Overwatch universe. Hog.
All right. So let's start with the collaboration actually with the One Punch Man then, because we're already on that. I mean, just big picture, we're all like ecstatic. We've been asking for this for like literally years. Literally years. You know, since Fortnite started their shenanigans, pretty much. It's with One Punch Man. So I guess I got two questions. It's like, one, do you think like One Punch Man is like the type of partnership we should partner with? Like Avast just said, it's like a perfect kind of like, you know, target demographic to kind of hit if you are Overwatch. And two, who would we want to see in the future when it comes to collaborations? Because I think this kind of like, even though we had Lego in the past, like that's so far removed that I think that moving forward, this kind of like opens the door, I feel like, to more collaborations like into, you know, further seasons and more frequently as well. So what does this partnership kind of like mean going into this one? How do you like it? And what would you like to see in the future?
I think I agree like with what Avast was saying, is like, this is cool because Overwatch in the past was trying to be something that it isn't, right? You know, we have Lego collaborations, which is cool and stuff like that, but it felt like there was never any retention there. Like Overwatch League was on Disney, like great, but it didn't do anything. While I think there's actually like there's going to be meaningful revenue that comes out of this because people are going to want to buy the skin. So hopefully they find success there and then they just keep running with that bag, right? You look at Fortnite and the 18 bajillion, you know, collaborations that they have. If they can just keep doing that for skin after skin, then I think there's so many things you can do. And the question for me, like, I don't know, I don't have the answer. There's probably a million great animes that you could put in here. Like, if I get to play any Hunter x Hunter character, if I get a Junkrat Hisoka skin, I'm gonna fucking lose it, right?
Who?
But Hisoka,
Sorry?
Hisoka,
Johnny
I
and
don't
anime.
know what the
Oh,
fuck
I don't
is
know
that?
what that is.
Yeah.
What is that?
okay,
And Connor.
yeah, okay, fucking out, you know. But yeah, if I get a skin like that, I'm gonna be super happy. And they just need to keep doing that. But then, does it extend into further things of like, you know, Marvel has done a lot of collaborations with a lot of other games, a lot of other esports. Could you start to see things like that? Could you see like an Iron Man Doomfist skin, right? And like just like keep building on that sort of first step.
Hear me out. Armored Titan Reinhardt. It makes perfect sense. He charges and things die. The Armored Titan, you can maybe do you could do Beast Titan. Beast Titan is fucking Winston. Wait, what else?
What about the
you wouldn't have
Ratio
regular
Titan?
Titans.
What about that?
Yeah,
What
take
about the
this fucking
Ratio Titan?
bitch.
How about that?
That's
I
nice.
feel like, to me, I have kind of an it's not that I disagree with Custa's point. It's that I view it as like, this is a good, it's just good that they're doing collaboration in general, because there was some people that had come out from like, I think like Arnold from Gen G and a couple other like people that had worked on like IPs and like partnerships came out on Twitter when this was announced and said like, this is like a huge turning point for Blizzard as a company, because in the past Blizzard has essentially this is not obviously my point of view, this is what those people recounted, like Arnold and these other partnerships people had said, like Blizzard essentially refused to do collabs because they thought their IP was just better than yours. Like they were just like, yeah, we have a sacred cow of an IP, like we're not gonna tarnish it with these collabs, like we're gonna like do it our own way, and you're gonna come to us and kneel at the altar of Blizzard. And like now they're like, actually, like that's really stupid. Like let's like actually like, you know, collab with popular things, because that's what people want to see, even though it's bat chest. Like that's cool. People want a bat chest. So I view this as like, I don't really care. Honestly, I didn't even mind that, like the back in the day, Lego collab was fine. Like who cares if we get a random weird collab or like something that's not necessarily super gaming, right? Because there's still an audience there and it's still something different, right? Like to me, that's the point of collabs, that you're bringing in a lot of different diverse people that might not look at your game, but also it's just different. It's a new skin. It's a new idea. It's something that's like, holy, like this is kind of cool. Like I want to own this type of thing. And that's, to me, I think what's really interesting and exciting about this.
Well, do you see a difference between like collaborations with, like, obviously with Lego, you get a lot of eyes of people that could potentially be interested in a game like Overwatch, right? But the crossover is probably very minimal compared to going to something more adjacent to video games and Overwatch, which is anime. Like, so there's more value in having an anime one where, like, think about how many people are probably going to buy this One Punch skin compared to if they added, like, I don't know, like a Lego skin and stuff like that.
I mean, I think there is value there, 100%. Like, there is largely more. There's likely more value to be found in those sort of collabs. I'm just saying that, like, I'm just happy that, like, they're open now. It seems to be like we're open to just doing collaborations in general, right? Like, it shows that, like, they're open to do that. And also, I do think even if they're not directly related, like, if the collaboration is like weird and funky and the skin is really good, like the cosmetics are really good, I still think that's like an extra value add, right? Like, if they did some like weird as fuck, like, imagine if they did like a good Mythical Morning collab and you have Red and Link or something, like, you know, like, you know, like, I'm just saying that, like, there's like a lot of avenues for collaborations and partnerships that don't necessarily have to traditionally be gaming aligned, that are like good. I think that's a good thing, and there's a lot of different eyes on that. So
you need to be careful though, Avast, because it's a slippery slope, you know. You start with one Doomfist skin.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I don't. R/Overwatch
you get stormtroopers. You get whatever this guy is called, something. Like, imagine like Star Wars Genji with a lightsaber. I'm just saying, it's a
is this a problem?
I'm kidding, of course. I'm being sarcastic.
No, it's not a problem. It's literally not a problem for anyone that's not a fucking boring person.
Yeah. Literally, and that's it. I called myself a pacifist, but what I meant was a purist in one of the episodes recently of, like, I used to be one of those boring people who was like, I don't want to see a fucking stormtrooper running through Overwatch because, like, that's ruining the immersion. It's taking away from the game. But it's just a proven way to be successful in a video game, and it's fun and it's hype, and it's fun to see a Morty running across the map when you're playing a different video game, right? Mean, like, okay, maybe not in Overwatch.
But the thing is, they've already proved with this collab that it won't be that way. It's not going to be like Fortnite. Right. It's like and the designers, because I follow, and like a lot of, like, we all follow a lot of Team 4 people and have interacted with them. And they, you know, the designers of this skin have come out, like a lot of them that worked on the partnership and the art for it from Team 4 and Blizzard have come out and be like, yeah, like, our goal here is, like, we clearly want to integrate as we move forward collaborations like this, but we still want to retain the Overwatch style and heroes, you know? And that's the key difference. Fortnite's like, fuck it, it's just the person in the game. Overwatch is like, we want to include this collaboration and make something cool and fun, but we still want it to be Overwatch.
Also,
you know, and I think that's a distinct difference.
There's something to be said about, you know, what characters and what collaborations you actually choose, you know, because Fortnite, you know, you're looking at this screen and you got like stormtroopers and everything, all kinds of stuff, and there you got Ninja, who's like a streamer, of course, but like One Punch Man and the Lego collaboration in the past, like, these are very safe collaborations, because one thing that I still think that Blizzard, and obviously just speculating, but when the whole lawsuit went down, essentially, one of the bigger problems was actually that they had a lot of references, especially within World of Warcraft, to people who worked on the developer team, right? And so they quickly realized that, like, we can't be associated with people because it's a brand risk. Like, we can't associate with people because we can't trust that they're going to be moral people who behave rightly and set a good example for what we want to characterize within the game itself. And so I think that's something actually that Blizzard still, to this day, and moving forward, they will be very stern and selective, I should say. They are going to be very selective about what brands to bring into a space such as Overwatch. So, like, bringing in, like, questionable, like, moral characters like a stormtrooper into Overwatch, like, that's straight up not going to happen.
But the thing is, but they're fictional though, not a person. It's not a real person. Like, if a stormtrooper, like, destroys a town in Star Wars and, like, kills everybody, I'm like,
okay,
like,
sure.
obviously,
okay,
like,
example.
I'm just saying, IPs are generally going to be fine unless they the next issue of One Punch Man is Saitama commits a hate crime. I don't think that, like, I think we'll be fine.
No, but example, it's just like, oh, cool, like let's, Anakin Skywalker in episode 1, he's like, oh, he's a future, Skywalker, and he's gonna be great and all. And then like episode 3, he kills kids, and it's like, oh well, fuck, we couldn't anticipate that.
Well, no, but that's it's a fictional.
But it's
worse.
Why? Who cares?
I think I see where you're coming from. No, I see where you're coming from, but it's like it would be worse if the character looked exactly like the actor, and then the actor did something awful, right? Because you're taking it out of the IP. Fucking, are we not allowed to play Widowmaker because she killed Mondada? Like that's not how it works, right?
Widowmaker killed her husband too, right? Wasn't that implied essentially? Like, wasn't that essentially implied or something like that? Like,
okay, let me say it differently. Like, I don't think streamers will be in the game. Like, I don't think we're getting.
I agree.
Sure.
I think they'll avoid
that's
that.
fine. Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm fine with that.
So, okay,
I'm
if
just
you
talking
want to
about
separate
IPs.
fictional from like reality, like actually like creators, like sure enough, okay, we'll make that distinction. But the point being that like, I don't think that Overwatch is gonna get out of control, because I do think that they'll be more selective with what brands and like how far, like how much they push these integrations. So, YouTube chat is making me out like I'm some kind of villain now. So maybe I won't get my Overwatch skin, but that's fine.
At the end of the day as well, like when it comes to game design and what Blizzard have done very well, and this is we had a whole fucking couple of lectures on this thing when I studied it in uni, was the silhouettes of characters are very important. You take away the character, the colors and everything, and you just have them as a silhouette. Can you identify that character? And with Overwatch, they've done a fantastic job of doing that. You can pick any fucking Overwatch character out on a background as like a shadow, like it's just so easy to do. They're not going to go as far as like, we'll take the Stormtrooper example. They're not going to make Soldier 76 Stormtrooper because the silhouette will change. If they did make it, he would look like a Stormtrooper, but he's not. Like, he's still fucking Soldier.
I mean, they would probably just they'd keep the silhouette the same, right? Like, that's the thing.
Like,
the art would stay the same.
So they're not going to push through something that looks completely fucking different. Like Scott said, they're not going to have fucking Morty running around, They're not going to have the Demogorgon fucking fucking crawling around and shit on the floor. Like, they're still going to keep Overwatch aesthetics to the character characters or like the integrations that they do. Like, I don't think it's a slippery slope. Our Overwatch is a very silly place.
Yes.
Their Reddit is a very silly place. Like, overall, like
the thing is that like all the main. I mean, I'm gonna start at a different tangent here, but no joke, like the most reasonable discourse, which is shocking, because if you had told this to me like in 2017, 2016, be like r/competitive Overwatch is like a very reasonably placed on average of like people discussing things on the topics, I'd be like, you're high and you're dumb, and like I don't know what you're talking about. Like, but now I'm like, okay, you know what, actually, and it's honestly, it veers the same way. It seems to be a trend everywhere where like the r/Valorant competitive subreddit is very similar, where the r/Valorant subreddit is like garbage. It's terrible. Like, it just seems to be like, that's just the direction that a lot of these like, and I feel like that maybe it's not a problem with necessarily the subreddits in general. It might just be a problem when you have like 8 million people in one place. There's just a lot of really stupid people because there's a lot of really dumb people. So.
It also the problem with like these public ones with the 8 million viewers is right now social media, Reddit's, Twitter's, all that kind of stuff, it leans towards saying something controversial is generally going to get you more interactions, more karma than just having this is cool, or like, wow, that's fun. So I think it leads into this sort of like hate cycle that sort of like it's more productive if you care about internet points to be controversial and make up stuff and complain in general. And that's why it just feeds into itself. And you just gotta, too many times I think we're like, oh my God, so many people are upset about this thing, when really it's a very vocal minority that no one really cares about. And like the revenue and the sales and all that kind of stuff don't align with that mentality.
Yeah. I mean, the only time I think, also bringing back to your point, Johnny, is of my final closing statement on this, is that like, I think the only time that you'd ever have to worry about integrating IPs versus like, obviously they should stay away from potentially utilizing people, like real people, obviously, because they've learned their lesson on that. And that's like maybe why the Good Mythical Morning thing is not, like the Red and Link idea is probably not a good idea, because like who knows with them, but like maybe Good Mythical Morning as like an IP, like an entity, right? That's different. But there obviously you should steer away from potentially controversial IPs because of like where the creator of the IP stems from, or like things like that. Like if they were to come out right now and be like, hey, we put out the Hogwarts Legacy I
knew
skin,
you were gonna go there.
I knew.
I saw you going for it from a fucking
I told you I'd get it. Algorithm, here we come. Here we come, algorithm. So like then I'd be like, okay, like that could be an issue because of the nature of like what is occurring in the discourse around the IP, right? But that's like a far more like mobile topic than like obviously like generally you should avoid adding people in general. Like that can be done. So
good closing statement. Thank you, Avast.
Yeah, that was good.
Let's go, algorithm. All right. So before we get back to, I guess, more serious things when it comes to like patch notes and all that, let's just keep the silliness going. So, Overwatch dating sim?
I think this is a great idea. You seem okay, Johnny. Give me your concerns. You don't seem sold on the idea of being able to. I don't have any
concerns. I just made a funny face about it. I'm literally not a concern. I love it. I think it's great, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think that some people, because I did my tweet yesterday where I was like, "What?" ? But it was like a what, as in like, "Wow, that was unexpected." Like I did not expect it at all. Like this is like funny and goofy. But then the people who obviously hated it, they were like Overwatch content creator like shits on the game that they're implementing like a Valentine. Like no, I think it's fucking great. I think it's gonna be good. I'm really looking forward to it. So I just got good feelings, Custa. No bad vibes.
I think this is like the perfect level of content that we've been missing for a very long time. They've had these shitty little events, but this is just such a niche thing. It doesn't even run through the game. It's through a browser, if I'm sure. They're like utilizing the IP to get people interested. We know by the only reason that we're still alive that people are very interested in these characters in a romantic way. So it's like, I think it's important to just sort of like lean into that in like a fun, wholesome way. Like this is a good way to do it. They have Mercy, they have Genji.
It's not slippery
you get
slope.
to act as Hans. No, it's like as I said, unless they start just like releasing base models on their own and just doing some weird shit. Like I think this is the right direction. It's a fun, wholesome piece. I'm sure it'll be very cool. It'll lead into more of these characters. I think the Hanzo skin's really, really cool as well. I think it'll pop off. So I think it's a great idea.
Dude, porn revolutionized VHSs. Porn also revolutionized VR.
Wait, let him speak. Let him speak. Wait a minute. He's got a point. He's got a point.
Dating sims have revolutionized gaming. Everybody wants. Look, as much as Super says,
algorithm.
Love the tweet. Overwatch porn is mid. Super 20. I think 2020 or 2021.
That was 2022, actually. I think
2022. Even more recent take. Yeah. Even though he said Overwatch porn is mid, porn gaming keeps gaming alive. I'm sorry. It does. It fucking does. Porn keeps everything alive. VHS, the internet, Betamax.
Well, VHS is not alive, but,
like it revolutionized the fucking VHS industry. Like that, porn just does this shit. And Tinder Watch, fucking, it's in the game now. Okay, it's canon. It's actual canon. It's probably not canon, but it's exists, and that's a good fucking thing. I'm just saying, like, hey, at the end of the day, there are people out there that want to date your different characters, and now you can. It's going to be a good time. I can't wait to play it. It's going to be like
I agree with your spirit. I feel like I would have worded it differently, but you know what? He's got the spirit. So I think the point is right. I think the overall point that you're making is correct. So yeah, you know what? I mean, I think overall it's something we need. It is something we need. I think that cool. We need to leverage the IP of this game. Once again. No, I'm not saying we necessarily need more pornographic content. I'm not saying we necessarily need that. I'm simply saying that, as Scott said earlier, and then also
are watching these episodes.
Well, calm down.
Yeah,
calm down.
But they are aware. Don't act like they're ignorant to their fact. They
definitely know. They definitely know.
Going on.
They definitely know. One of the best Jane clips of all time is him accidentally opening like a Mercy porn clip on his stream. You can't get away from it. Like you literally can't get away from it. Like it's everywhere. But like my point isn't about. My point's not about porn. My point is about Scott's point, which is like we have a huge amount of character and IPs that have been unused for like people to, and a huge amount of the Overwatch fan base. The reason Overwatch is so huge as like a casual thing is that there's so many people that connect with the characters and like the characters, but they've been severely underutilized and developed in different things. And I think that's something like that shows that like, oh, we're willing to like do more fun, cutesy little things and spin-offs. It doesn't even necessarily have to be integrated into the game directly. It can be just like side releases that green. And once again, this brings back to the other point: eat-ators. Eat-ators love and shippers, like an artist, like they love this shit. Like give them material to make more content for your game, like because all of them will immediately be like, holy fuck, Hanzo's so hot. I must go make 30 4K like insane pictures
34.
of Hanzo.
You really just said
like,
34 just out of nowhere. You really just accidentally said 34.
Well, and then they'll make a bunch of art and like it's an upstream solution creating downstream revenues. Okay, just more and more content over like through the pipeline.
Like I remember when we were at whenever we worked with Pocket, what was that, like the Countdown Cup or something like that, or the Summer Showdown? And Pocket was like, he wanted to find competitive Overwatch, but he wasn't subscribed. So in Reddit, he types in Overwatch, and first one is the Overwatch subreddit. The second one above competitive Overwatch is Overwatch porn with like more than 1 million subscribers, right? Like that's how prominent it is. Like it is literally the second most like structured one. So you just, at this point, obviously they shouldn't lean into the porn. Like that's not a good idea overall.
Yeah, no
right?
one's saying that one.
No,
Other than Jack.
one's saying
no
that.
one's saying
No, I'm not saying they should lean in.
There is something there that people are attached to these characters, and I think like this is a great sort of segue into that and getting people more attached to the characters outside of the game.
Any content is good content, and it looks fun. It's going to be fun. Like, it looks like they're taking a lot. It's like they went into the custom games browser and went, we can make something out of this. Fucking fishing. You can fish in Antarctica spawn room. Tinder Watch. How can we revolutionize and monetize Tinder Watch? We'll make a game in the browser. Epic.
What even? What even the fuck is this? It's text based. So do you like?
Have you played Dream Daddy, Johnny?
Talk?
Yeah,
no,
it's like
I haven't played any of these games.
Sims.
I am not
They're
the target
so good.
audience for this.
It's
one.
so good. Dude, you can romance any dad you want. It's the best. Johnny, you should try it on stream. It's a fun time.
The KFC one. That
Yeah,
one's good.
the
KFC one's pretty good.
Yeah,
There's also a Hotiful Boyfriend where it's like you're a pigeon.
It's kind of like Doki Doki. Have you played Doki Doki, Johnny? Yeah. Okay, Johnny.
I don't even know.
Sidetrack, Johnny. Which dad would you go after? Which dad would you romance?
You pick right now.
You gotta pick.
This is actually quite funny because there was actually at our local gaming bar back in 2018, 2019, when we used to, after broadcast, we used to go hang out. There was a Dream Daddy, like huge, like poster, like on the wall. And when people got like 3-4 drinks in them, it was like 10, 11 p.m. They started chatting Dream Daddy, like who they would date and like everything, and like drafting and every time like a new person coming into the bar, they'd be like, "Oh, who do you choose?" And like this was an ongoing conversation. So this is an actual game.
Yeah, this is an actual game.
I am just so out of the loop.
Yeah, like one of them's a teacher, one of them's a new baby daddy, one of them's a vampire and who runs a cult, one of them is a bad boy, one of them's lovable.
Who did you choose? Who did you pick, Scott?
I went for the third guy from the left. But then I accidentally kept jumping off of that guy. I kept jumping off of the waterfall and I died.
Rest in peace.
What?
That's
Rest
fucked
in
up.
peace.
But then once I continued, they rejected me. I didn't make myself lovable enough, and they wanted to remain friends. And now I hate Dream Daddy. But you should play it.
I see. You were asking me to pick one of these, but I don't care that much about surface level appearance. I'd want to have genuine conversations with all these guys, and then see what that is.
I guess you kind of get a vibe of their personality from this, because that's the point of a dating sim, is they're supposed to sort of give a vibe to the character based off their appearance. But I agree, you'd have to have some conversations with them. So that's why you should just stream yourself playing Dream Daddy.
Custa. I can't.
That's not. I'm not as responsible.
Yeah. See.
So now you have to play it.
Maybe.
Yeah. Now you have to stream Dream Daddy.
If we get enough subs. Yeah. If we get enough subs, maybe we'll help the algorithm. All right. Holy shit. Let's move on. Jaws is already like in the running for like best rant of like 2023. I mean, leave that one for the Avast bracket, the meme bracket later on this year.
Dude, that is a good rant. That is a good rant.
It's a good rant. Amazing. All right, so I think we backtrack a little bit here. Actually, I guess we're sort of on the topic of skins, so let's not backtrack. Let's not get to the patch notes just yet. You did mention it when we looked at the trailer briefly. There are a lot of skins that are actually coming with this new season, of course. I mean, it's a new season, of course there'll be skins. What I did like in the trailer is that they actually outlined, so people have their expectations right, which skins are going to be in the battle pass and which ones will be like available in the shop, like without the battle pass. So, for example, I brought up an image here. You can see the Kiriko skin, of course, the Mythic skin, but you also have Junkrat, Reaper, Moira in here as well. So these will be available in the battle pass, and then also as well, there's another image that shows the ones available in the shop. So, Joss, I know one of your favorites is the Sen skin, but what other skins do we really like here in the set?
The Genji one's pretty cool. I think Genji, out of all the characters in Overwatch, I think Genji is definitely the one. I feel like there's more customization. Not customization. I guess I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like it's very easy to get a lot of like cool fucking like aesthetics for that character because he has a giant blade too. Like one of my favorite ones for Genji is the Frost. Fuck, it's a winter skin. It's like he's got the fucking long like steel blade and he goes the wolf or some bullshit. I don't know. But I think Genji is pretty sick too. Zen one's definitely my favorite one though, bro. He cooks takoyaki and throws it at people. How fucking sick.
What is he cooking?
Takoyaki, as in the food. Not
It's like an octopus ball.
Who is named after the food. Octopus ball, yes. It's
One of
like
the best prospects according to Rush, takoyaki.
Yep, one of the best pros. Yep, that is the skin. That's how takoyaki looks in real life.
Okay.
That's exactly how he looks. That's why they designed him off. Yep.
I like the little
it looks sick.
It's
yeah,
cute.
it's cool. He's just a fucking chef, bro, and he's fucking cooking up some good shit.
He's cooking.
He is cooking. He is in fact
be cooking. Yeah, hell yeah. I think we've said this before, but it's not too much of a surprise because they need people to buy skins, right? That's how the game's funded, etc. But the skin quality has definitely gone up, and I've said this on my stream a few times too, where the epic skins, some of the epic skins that they've released over the last couple of seasons look like legendary skins of old. Yeah. And these legendary skins are definitely like one-upped. And then of course the mythic skins customizable or even like another level. So it's cool to see like them pushing the boundaries too of like how wicked and wild they can get with the skins. I think it's fucking awesome. I think it's really cool.
Would you buy any of these skins? I think that is one of the questions. These are all available in the shop.
Is that a Widow skin or a Sim skin?
I think it's
that's a maze.
Ash skin?
No, the one on the left. Is that Ash?
Yeah, with
Ash.
the gun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's a cool skin.
The Bob is cool. The Bob is really cool with it.
Very cool.
Yeah, I would probably buy the Ash skin. What? Give me a look at the other ones. Can we get a zoom out? Sorry, I haven't.
Yeah.
My stream to you guys is very blurry.
Yeah, mine's very blurry as well, so that's why I was actually opening Overwatch to try and. The Genji one's cool, but here's the problem that I'm curious to see if they're gonna run into is I have a mythic skin for Genji now, so it's like why would I buy that skin?
Yeah,
dude, that's gonna happen with every hero, though. You know. I'm okay.
I thought this looked like Junker Queen first, and I was like, why would I buy a Junker Queen skin? Like,
they fucking need to add they do this in other games. They need to add a fucking random skin choice. You know, when you're in the lobby and like just before like the heroes get
like a favorite, you can favorite skins.
Yeah. Give me a feature where I can favorite a bunch of skins and then it randomly selects one for me, because I have a lot of fucking Zen skins that I love and a lot of Genji skins that I also really like, or like Tracer, whoever the fuck. Give me a list, boom, all favorites, and it randomly selects a favorite, because that way I don't have to fucking make a choice. And I love the Genji, the season 1 Genji skin. That's fucking sick, or season 0 or whatever. But if I bought the skin too, I'd feel bad not using it. You know, give me a random thing. That'd be sick.
Zen has too many good skins. That's too many. Got too many great skins. Got a lot. Same with Genji, but that's because everyone fucking loves playing Genji. So like they keep making good skins for the character because everyone likes playing him.
Time to nap.
So I actually really like Diva's skin personally as well. I think Diva's skin's really cool. Plus she has like a humongous sword, like when she's outside the mech, she's got like a gigantic sword.
Diva has a sword?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so I think overall like the skins are great.
Johnny, Johnny.
Oh no! Okay, scroll up, Johnny. What the fuck?
Oh, what?
Scroll
is that
up.
Genji's feet?
That's Genji's feet.
I think he's kind of like no. I don't think that's his real. I think it's just the feet for the skin.
That's not his real feet.
I don't think it's
real feet.
It's not his real feet.
Real feet reveal.
Real feet. Finally, real feet.
Dude, what are with these shins and ankles? What?
Well, I mean that's
like
just the character, you know.
Yeah, just like everybody that goes to the gym, they got no calves, bro. It's all upper body mass.
You can't train your ankles. You can't make your ankles bigger.
Unless you're a mass monster, you know?
You can't do that.
Never mind. Cool. Yeah, I guess I think it's an interesting conversation where it's like, yeah, we got these cool new skins available in the shop now, and but like we also have mythic skins that are like so much better that like, can you keep selling these forever? Like I'm certainly at a point where I have so many skins on my Overwatch account that I'm like, I don't really I say that, but I did buy a couple like last season. So anyway, these are available in the shop. Let's talk about the ones in the battle pass as well. Anyone of these stand out? We got the Reaper one, Junkrat.
I honestly like all of them.
What do
I
you
think
think
the
about the
Reaper one is
Kiriko
my
Mythic skin?
favorite.
It's fucking sick, obviously.
Yeah, I like all of them. I'm a fan of all.
The
all four of
Cass
them.
one, bro. The fucking Cassidy
Yeah, it's not on
one.
here, right? It's in
yeah,
the video,
not.
but
I don't know.
Well, you
why.
can't see him. He's invisible.
oh my.
That's
fuck's
true.
sake.
Wow, that's so true. Oh. I didn't deserve a response.
Yeah, that is true. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can try to find it because I was pretty surprised, given that you talked about silhouettes and stuff.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, you
Cass has
gotta
only
keep it
missed
easy
his
for the
face.
game, and then you get this, and you're like, hold up.
You can still tell it's Cassidy if you, dude. Come on.
Yeah, but if you're a Widowmaker and you're zooming in, it's just like, I mean, yeah,
dude,
sure,
people
but
said
like,
the same thing about Farah. You know the Halloween skin where she doesn't have a fucking head. Like people are like,
True.
oh shit, she's got no fucking head. How can you headshot her? It's like, dude, come on now. He
All
also
right.
has a fucking hat.
okay,
Like,
yeah. But you still have to agree, it's a big departure from the like, oh, everything needs to be frame perfect so that when you shoot a shot, then it needs to land the head. And like, they made a guy invisible, with goggles and, cigar. But
like when
Yeah, but you'd still be able to tell where the head's at. It's got a
Okay.
scarf,
All
he's
right,
got a hat,
all
no
right,
goggles,
tell,
you know.
like,
all
it's
right.
not
Like if
too
you
decent
can't see
to
his
lose in this
nose,
one.
then it's like, I can't shoot him. He's got
shoot
there's
him
no
in the mouth.
nose visible.
Shoot him in the mouth.
Like, it's
All
fine.
right.
It's a
Okay.
head.
All right. I
area.
shouldn't have brought it up. All right.
Nope.
Let's talk about the blog because I mean the blog in and of itself is just massive. I tweeted out that like the video just keeps going with announcements because obviously they had mentioned World Cup stuff in there. They mentioned the dating simulator. They mentioned the collaboration, of course, with One Punch Man. There's a new map coming out. You can fish on the map. And they have streamer protect rules in place. I don't think we talked about that last episode as well. There's tons of balance changes. I do think we want to get to patch notes. So we can talk about the patch notes and what you think in general, because there are quite a lot of substantial changes. These patch notes are a bit misleading because they're actually changing like tank health in role queue modes versus non-role queue modes to nerf tanks in game modes where you're not playing competitive. So I guess if you're one of those individuals who are like, hey, in Battle of Olympus, like tanks are overpowered,
There is competitive
changing a few things around. So
in open queue. So this does affect competitive open queue. It shouldn't exist, but it does.
fair enough. What's the open queue meta right now, Joss?
Probably just fucking 4 tanks. and
9
kill them.
tanks.
Yeah, just as many tanks as you can possibly fit on the screen. Being real.
All right. Well, talking more about the general changes then. I haven't really found a good image that like summarizes this. It's mainly like just like text posts. But you, of course, have already reviewed all the changes. What were some of the changes, like patch notes, that like really stood out to you? What are some of the heroes that you think will be most affected by this patch?
Someone else
think-
should go first. Yeah.
Wait, what did you say, Jack?
I said someone else should go first.
Okay, I'm going to leave the one for Jack that I think he's going to talk about. I actually think Wrecking Ball is pretty dramatic on like the buffs that they gave to Wrecking Ball in this patch notes. They've essentially, I think the 150 shields that they've given him instead of health is a very big deal because essentially that shield can recharge while you're doing the cycle where you go pick up the mega health and that kind of stuff. That will recharge. So you're essentially getting 150 free health if you're cycling correctly. Plus, they reduce the cooldown of the slam, which can always be a pain point. So he can slam more often. And then you add that to the reduction of the... so you're going to get mines more often because you're doing more damage and you're getting better cycling. And then your mines are more effective because they actually load in 1 second instead of 1.5 seconds. So if you slam a support or a 200 HP target in the middle of it, they really can't get out of the mines anymore. So it's going to be pretty crazy how good Wrecking Ball could be. The question is, are these other heroes still strong enough to make it so that Wrecking Ball's not viable enough? I think we might be moving towards a Brig Wrecking Ball meta, but we'll see.
I find it interesting as well that aside from like the general meta, like, okay, what are we adjusting with the heroes, that they're also looking to tune down like the general you don't keep as much ult charge between swapping between heroes now anymore. They're just nerfing it across the board because they're like, yeah, we feel like we want to reduce the amount of ultimates being generated entirely. And I think that's like, I think it's pretty interesting. I don't know. I'm kind of split on it a bit because I understand why their philosophy is, but I also personally, and I think a lot of people shared this initially, is that like being able to keep ult charge when you swapped it stopped the issue of like, we are stuck on a comp a lot. Like we're committed to this composition. We're playing it because we're close to ults. Like also it allowed you to be more flexible in general because it's like, well, I want to stay this because like this is a strong ult versus like I want to swap to something that's a little bit more situational viable, but I keep my ult charge percentage. So I'm kind of mixed on like where they're going to be going with this like moving forward, but I'm not opposed to it because I mean, I think less ult generation in Overwatch isn't necessarily bad, especially if we can navigate to the game being, continually more neutral / shooting based versus, ultimate based. So I just want to see like where their long-term goals are for like, what do they view that as? Because I still think the hero update where they allowed people to retain ult charge after swapping is an overall good idea. So.
Well, they've increased the ult cost for everybody except, not everybody. A lot of characters except for supports. They decreased. So you'll get more ults out of supports now and less from certain tanks and certain DPS. So like it's just bringing a couple of supports more in line in terms of like ult charge. Brig specifically.
Brig is a big buff in this patch as well.
Yeah, you're gonna get rally hella quick, but you also get instant HP from repair pack. I mean, it does reduce healing over time, but like not by a lot. It's like 5, but when you also have you instantly gaining 25 HP, it's like meh. Like the healing over time is like like the instant HP, because burst damage in Overwatch is just king more often than not, and like that instant HP is going to feel way better as a Brig player or like just playing Brig, because more often than not you cookie somebody and that health it's ticking up, woohoo, getting healed, but you're already fucking dead. Like you do need that like instant healing. That's why things like nade and shit are so good. Is that instant healing. So it's pretty interesting, and you're going to get rally a little bit more here. And if Wrecking Ball does come into meta, dude, I don't know how I feel about it. If it's going to be like Ball Sombra as well, because like
Sombra got a buff. Yeah.
Yeah, so she
it's
has
like a
more
7% damage buff overall, I think.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
then also the hacked health packs are hacked for longer, so that kind of helps, but also it helps your ball, but counters their ball as well. So like, there's going to be this weird like Wrecking Ball Sombra kind of bullshit going on, and then that Brig might exist in the meta where she's getting more rallies and you can instantly heal people, and then Zen who can kind of peel for himself with the kick. So maybe a Brig Zen thing may be going down, but then Kiriko's still really good. It's really weird. I'm not sure what's going to happen to the meta. It's all up in the air right now, obviously, because the patch came out 3 minutes ago. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Of course, the big support one that 99.9% of people will probably like is the Mercy change. Mercy players fucking livid over this 1 second GA change. Even though in Overwatch 2, it is so easy to use super jump now. Before it was a tech, and you see people, you're like, wow, that person is consistent at doing the fucking tech.
Well, also you used to only be able to go up or like slightly forward, right? Exactly. Now you can go anywhere.
Any fucking direction. So like, not only it is almost idiot proof going using a super glide, super jump, or whatever the fuck, but your GA was 1.5 seconds on such a short cooldown that you could permanently stay in the air. And not only were you permanently staying in the air, you were permanently moving at a fucking F-22 fighter jet speed in the air. And your only risk really is dying to a one-shot from a Widow. Or like, maybe an Ashe or like something like, do a little bit of damage, maybe you kill her, right? But like her being able to ping pong and slingshot across the map just so consistently, comparing that to like other people's escape tools, you like Moira Faye, like Brig Bash. Obviously, Zen doesn't really have an escape and he's got kick, but that's like Zen's literal weakness is they can't run away. Like Mercy was just too strong. And I think for me, it was like, it was frustrating, but it was kind of crazy to me that a lot of Mercy one tricks were saying, or obviously it's a fucking Mercy one trick, like that this is like a nerf that will just obliterate Mercy off the map. Like you just can't play it because it's a 2.5 seconds. It just makes her more diveable, which is good. No, it literally increases the skill ceiling. I had fucking not arguments. I had people say, I've seen people say that it does not heighten the skill ceiling of Mercy. And that just blew my fucking mind. There is no way you can say heightening a skill, like a cooldown on a movement ability, doesn't heighten the skill of a character, because it actually makes you engage your fucking brain and not just spam shift. And spam shift, super glide, bounce up, down and around, and like making it more diveable will separate bad Mercy players, the shit ones, from the actual good ones that know how to use cooldowns correctly, that know how to position well. Because Mercies right now are almost unkillable, which is also another thing with the ult. You can talk in a sec, but like it made her almost unkillable apart from like very coordinated dives, which doesn't happen in ranked like at all. Let's be fucking real with ourselves here. It was very stupid. Also the new Valk, also a bit ridiculous, but yeah, I mean, Scott, you can say shit.
Well, and that's the frustrating thing, I think, for a lot of people, and why it's frustrating that Mercy players are like upset, because it's probably a net buff to her in terms of her overall effectiveness as a character. Because when you look at the other numbers, yes, the GA is going to be harder to use, but I've been saying it needs a 1 second extra cooldown, because now that you had the second half of it, you could pretty much do anything, as Jack said. But as much as they nerf the healing, the buff to the you now do 67.5 healing per second, which is pretty much equivalent to what Moira does when she's peeing on people. You do that for anyone under 50%.
It's massive.
Plus, you now heal yourself for 25% of that healing done.
Crazy.
So when you are healing someone else under half health, you are also getting, it's like 17 or 18 healing per second on yourself, which allows you to play more aggressive, heal tanks, and be more interesting. I actually think this is a great change for the direction of Mercy. A lot of people's frustration, including mine with Mercy, is when the best course of action is to do nothing, pocket one person, just damage boost them from behind a corner, and if they die, you res them, right? This will require you to play more aggressive, and it will incentivize you to go in, heal your tanks, heal other people, heal people below 50%, because that's where the value is. Plus, you'll be able to heal yourself during that time. You still have the support passive, so you'll be able to heal outside of combat. So you're going to be absolutely unkillable if you are healing low HP targets. And as Jack said, that doesn't even include Valkyrie, which is, if you've seen Carter's video on how he described the Mercy Valkyrie, is like you can get over 100 healing per second on yourself while you are healing like 4 other targets. And it's almost impossible to die unless you die to a one-shot. So I think Valkyrie is going to be a massive problem for Mercy, because she's going to be even less killable than she already is right now. But I actually think she is going to be a better character, and her skill ceiling is going to be higher. And I think good Mercies are going to do a lot more work. But I like that they're stepping away from this. Just pocket one character and go about your day.
So I want to, Joss, you are so passionate, I know. But I want to ask like how this impacts like how you have to play against Mercy, because the healing increased by 50% for all allies under half health, like almost 70 healing per second now, to anyone who's dropping low. That kind of change, it promotes this like burst mentality where like, well, if you're dealing like damage over time, it's going to be easier for the Mercy to sort of like mitigate them getting these last kind of like final blows onto the targets that are low, because Mercy can simply like heal it up, like Ashe dynamite damage, consider that stuff like Moira, maybe like trying to deal damage onto someone to finish them off, while Mercy can easier now counteract that. And it promotes this sort of like needing like a hit scan headshot or something to like finish people off, while we'll already now for a couple of months had or longer than that, I'd say, of Sojourn burst potential being so important in the game. So just like talking about like the approach to countering Mercy from now on, with like so much healing to herself, but also preventing these low HP targets from dying even better with the higher healing per second. Do you think that this change promotes a bad kind of like compositional philosophy where you have to play more burst characters, rather than relying on like damage over time characters that don't necessarily have that burst?
I don't think it really changes. I mean, personally, I don't think, because I think it, in certain ways, yes, but the thing is that doesn't really change the fact that burst damage has always been king for the most part in Overwatch. Like a change like this is like throwing another drop of water in the bucket in that respect. But also her Guardian Angel change means like before, when you were like, oh, I want to kill supports, right? And let's say we were like an old Lucio Zen, Lucio Ana meta. It's like we could choose to fight to kill supports. And like the current Mercy meta, it with like the current way that Mercy works, it was very hard to be like, we're going to consistently target the Mercy. Like, it's like, because if you have a really good Mercy player, they can generally maneuver really, really well. I think now there's a lot more like, God, I have something in my throat. Don't know what it is. There we go. But now I think you actually can time out those cooldowns, right? There's a lot more like Mercy use GA, we jump. You know, there's a lot more opportunities for you to actually. It doesn't change the burst damage, I think, break points, but it changes the fact that you can actually specifically target Mercy once the GA has been used. You can force the GA and be like, okay, we're going to go for Mercy. And then remove Mercy from the fight. Now, that doesn't really change the fact that Valkyrie has effectively gotten immensely better. So, like, that ult will still be very, very strong to deal with, and you'll be literally incapable of diving Mercy and, like, doing, like, enough damage to kill her, probably. But I personally think on like a neutral non-Valk level, you can at least now be like, Mercy use GA. We're jumping. We're going in. We're focusing. Yeah. Like there's more opportunities to at least target the Mercy, even if it doesn't change the fact that like burst damage will still be king.
Yeah. And bring up sorry, go on, Scott.
I just want to say something real quick. I actually think like there's some people who are saying it's going to like lead to more pocketing. I think that style is still going to be very popular, of like, especially with the damage buff that to Soldier, or the recoil buff to Soldier. I think that Mercy pocketing those people is still going to be really strong because Blue Beam and Res are the same. And, you know, the healing is going to kind of mitigate that. If anything, it's just the Mercy who's becoming more exposed, as Avast said. So I think overall it's just a net buff to her.
Yeah.
So you can go, Jack.
Yeah. No, I want to take a... Are you going to talk about Mercy and Brig and Wrecking Ball? Jack?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
You want to move on?
No, I didn't want to move on, actually. I wanted to say something before we moved on. So go ahead.
Good.
Go ahead.
Good.
Be my guest.
Yeah, so like Scott said, it actually could just promote the damage blue beam playstyle, which is still ridiculous. Like that, I still don't think that should be in the game at all. I still think res should be moved to the ult. Like you can only res while in ult. Like that makes the most sense.
What happens if you can res everyone within a certain radius of you as well?
Oh my god.
And what if you could do it from behind like a wall, maybe?
Yeah.
Direct line of sight.
Yeah. Okay. I think this could work.
New Valk, not gonna lie, fuck it, bring back 5 man res. Just fuck it, dude. I don't give a shit. Just revert everything. Go fucking ham. I think Valk definitely has gotten like ridiculous at this point. Blue beam is still absurd, but it's oh man, because that is the argument that's currently being used. That is okay. I'm going for that.
Yeah, he can't handle it. He starts talking about Mercy. He's frothing at the mouth. He's just losing his mind.
It is just mind blowing that like that is the argument that's currently being used, right? Where you are now incentivized to only blue beam and pocket. What's the fucking difference? Hello? But now the Mercy is diveable. Say for example, Ash is on high ground on fucking I don't give a shit map, like the Esperanza or something. He's on fire, just shooting the high ground. Mercy's gonna be there. You now dive the Mercy, right? On the high ground. She flies to someone else because she has a 2.5 second GA. Now you can actually go for a fucking re-engage because she has a 2.5 second GA. The kill times in Overwatch have been reduced year after year after year after year. Like it does feel a lot now, at least. Like kills are a lot quicker. We have things like Sojourn in the game, which deletes targets, but you are now being able to react a little bit quicker to a Mercy that has used GA. It's good. It's a good fucking thing. And it is annoying that they did remove the tech because that did lower the skill ceiling of the hero. The super jump where you could literally only go higher, like Scott just said. Now it's very easy where you can literally super glide in 4 fucking directions, or 6 directions. And with this change, it is going to separate the good from the bad Mercies. I just struggle to believe how people can think that this makes the hero clunky. Like, it doesn't make the hero clunky at all. You just have to engage your fucking neurons, like every other support player does when they get dove. Like, Ana has 2 saving abilities. She can nade herself, she can sleep dart. They're on very high cooldowns comparatively to a 1.5 second GA, where you can also go at lightning speed, is absurd. Your other get out of jail free guy, I suppose, is like hitting the Valk key and then you just fucking fly away, but that's obviously does require you to ult. It's just, I don't know. I've said this on my stream, and you cannot trust one tricks in balancing their own hero. You just can't. You only play that hero. You have you have little experience, I'd say, on other supports, maybe. Karagi actually put a funny tweet out the other day saying like, don't worry, the Mercy 1 trigs are going to try and change heroes. Like they're all going to be learning, warning to ranked players out there, you know, like they're going to be learning.
If we go to Ball, Wrecking Ball, Brig, Ball, Brig, Zen, there's a lot of people who are in the wrong elo.
Wrong elo. And can I just say something about that as well, by the way? The fucking, dear God. Okay, I'm not sure if your experience with this is, Scott, as well, but the amount of Grandmaster Plus Mercy players I've seen recently that have Platinum Diamond profiles in Overwatch 1 is absurd. Like,
well, I have something to say about that, actually, but that's a different topic. We can move on.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Like, is ridiculous. I think there is something wrong with a hero when you can accelerate your SR by almost double.
We've had this conversation before, I feel like, on the podcast, yeah.
I mean, probably, yeah. I just think Mercy was in a point where she was undivable because of her low cooldowns, her lightning speed at going ping-ponging around the map. I just, there's so
he's
much
molding out of control.
Yeah.
He's molding out of control. He's in a terminal mall. He's in a terminal mall.
We need to get out. Let's leave some Mercy leftovers, Jones.
Yeah, okay.
Get the hook. Get the big hook.
All right.
Let's go. I'm fucking sweating, like literally IRL. Can we just move on?
There are a few other changes that we could address, but I do want to spend a couple more seconds talking about Wrecking Ball and Brig, because Custa, you've already mentioned a couple times now that in case we move into a Wrecking Ball and Brig meta, is that something you genuinely think that we might head towards? There's been a couple, buffs to minor, mind you, to Cassidy and Soldier 76 as well, which, Cassidy in the past in a couple metas has paired well with Brig, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. Do you think that these changes to Wrecking Ball and Brig are enough to see them more frequently in the meta?
Well, I think it comes down to the question of does it do enough damage and is it effective enough to break Ramattra Kiriko? Like, I think that's really the question, and like a Mercy Sojourn or something like that, because people are going to try to play that. Ramattra nerf to his ultimate was a nerf, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. It's like still lasts 20 seconds if you're standing near people. I think Kiriko didn't get a single nerf, which is
where was the Suzu change? Suzu change?
Which is also needs to be talked about. Like, we don't need to talk about it, but it's like there needs to be a shift. Kiriko has been hard meta since season 0, since her inception into the game, and she still hasn't been changed. If she is still played after all these buffs to literally characters that are very good against her and sort of like she doesn't play well with, then there is a serious issue there. And they need to have a look at it. So if people still play Ramattra Kiriko after this, then there needs to be a look at that, because they cannot buff Wrecking Ball, Sombra, Brig any harder than they already have. So we'll see. I honestly, Johnny, I don't have a fair answer for you. I think it's a we'll see kind of moment.
I mean, the big thing with Ball in particular.
Okay, don't you dare show me this fucking graph.
No, the usage.
People got fucking bored of playing Kiriko. That's why it's going.
Also,
down.
remember, Genji is still has extremely high usage rates, despite the fact that he's not like an exceptionally strong character, because people just like playing Genji. So like also, usage stats are not always like perfect.
This is Masters Plus. Not being funny, but like Masters, you can fucking play anything. I would love to see just a top 500 graph and see what the play rates are like, because there's no shot Kiriko is like near 80%. Like she has to be close to 80%. If you don't have a Kiriko in your game, you just lose, because the other team does. The players, guess what? They're fucking good up there. Like the fucking top 10, top 20 people. There's no shot that play rate isn't absurdly high. And I think in general, people just kind of got bored. I've seen it a lot less like Kiri being used because people are like, I want to play Ana, bro. Like, but then you just get rolled because you play Ana, And there is also a problem where if one ability counters a character completely, Suzu with Ana as a character, then there's a fucking issue. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the mid-season balance patch include something with Kiriko Suzu, but I've thought about it a bunch. What the fuck do you change Suzu to? Or like, how do you change it?
Yeah.
Do you just increase the cooldown by 10 seconds? I'm not sure, because right now it just counters Ana as a hero overall, and just a lot of other heroes to be.
Show me the graph of what the win rate of someone is if they have a Sojourn and a Mercy, like paired together. That would be, that's what I want to see, because I think that is really the big issue right now is like,
I mean, these are crucial data points that are missing, right? It's like, because it goes back to the age-old thing of like, it's missing the context of like, it's not that these stats aren't inherently wrong or bad. They're just stats, but it's like, Genji continually, they've talked a lot about like, wow, Genji just keeps on getting a lot of usage, even though we keep nerfing him. And it's like, duh, people like him. People are going to keep playing him. Like, he's fun. Like, it's not, even though he's not very good. So, like, I do think that, like, sometimes there is, and this has been an issue that's existed throughout all of Overwatch history. This is not even, like, a current thing for, like, what this current iteration of the dev team might be. It's like, they've always had an issue of, like, contextualizing the stats with, like, and this is an issue that happens within the Overwatch League itself when, like, people, like, put out stats. Like, this guy has, like, even with all, like, we have a lot of dedicated stats people that try to, like, put, like, you know, different algorithms and, like, stats out there in particular. It's like, well, yeah, but like there's the variables to contextualize it in Overwatch in particular are very, very complicated. So I don't know. I don't put, not that I don't put stock into this because that's unfair. It's more so like it's missing context that I'd like to see to really understand like what the true value of that is. But you know,
Wrecking Ball, for full
good.
transparency, I believe this was yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
I was actually filming something at the time this was underway, so I have actually not listened to the dev chat, and so I just want to be like, I'd love to bring up some of the points that they probably talked about, and I'm sure it was very insightful.
Didn't they say they were moving hero pools? It's right? Or map pools?
Map pools, yeah. That's going away.
We're moving map pools, yeah. No,
we're getting to that.
Not hero pools, map pools.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought we were doing it in this one. My bad.
No, I mean, we'll talk about this in this episode a bit later. Yeah, I just wanted to address all the balance stuff first. So, yeah, I mean, there were some Sombra changes in there. I know Joss wanted to talk about that, but he's gone now, so he can't talk about Sombra.
I'm not too worried. I mean, personally, I think we should spend more time talking about Wrecking Ball because, like, I think I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be really real. Wrecking Ball is a very interesting hero. We haven't, now correct me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to think about the metas we've seen from last season. Did we how much solo Wrecking Ball tank play did we see? I thought it was majority Winston, Zarya, and some Diva, if I remember properly, with mixes and match, and then Junker Queen when we had the Junker Queen meta. Like, I'm trying to remember how much Wrecking Ball we truly saw in a 5v5 environment at like the top.
I can't recall exactly. Was there a point in like the summer showdown where people started to bring in Wrecking Ball just a few times occasionally?
I don't think we saw much. Not in.
I don't think we ever saw much Wrecking Ball because Wrecking Ball always had the issue where you're still like dog against Sombra, and like he still just didn't offer enough value in a 5v5 environment comparatively to like the 6v6 environment, where I think like the ability of Wrecking Ball allowed you to like allowed you to do more essentially with your other tank to like have extra value across the map. Like, you know, the slam combo, then you go for a dive with the rest of your tanks and such like that. Like you had someone to peel for your backline while your Wrecking Ball was doing stuff. Like, so I feel like we're missing some data unless I'm totally remembering about like how Wrecking Ball historically performed.
Oh yeah, Mikey played ball.
Yeah,
that's true. And Mikey's ball was pretty solid. However, I think Mikey's ball was pretty good overall. It was definitely a good ball performance.
Also, am I misremembering or the
Bella's Rhea.
Bella's Rhea played a ton of it.
Bella's Rhea played so much.
It was mid-season madness though, yeah.
It's mid-season madness. Yeah, it's been so long, so I'm just trying to remember. So yeah, Wrecking Ball has shown that, like, in that case, now that I remember Bella's Rhea and Mikey, Wrecking Ball has shown that it can be very, very annoying to deal with. But it also requires you to like perma run Sombra more than likely to like play against it. So like,
I think we're just going to end up in the mirror, and that's the thing. It's like, because you can't deny it. This is probably the strongest iteration that Wrecking Ball has ever been in. Now that he has these shields,
having the pile driver be so fast, in addition to the mines, the fucking mines.
Like if Zen is played, if you slam the Zen or the Brig and you get them in the middle of it, they're probably
just dead. Yeah. Like I do think that, to me, I am worried about this change. Not because I don't think that Wrecking Ball doesn't necessarily have a place, but because mines, there is very little counterplay available for supports unless you like, because even if you play BAP, right, where you have a literal immortality field, like, or even a current iteration of Suzu, it probably not enough against a whole minefield with how fast they activate now. And like, it's going to be really hard to keep your back on alive into that.
And you're not going to play if Ball becomes a meta, you're not playing Kiriko because she's so bad against Ball. She's not very good against those heroes. You can't heal your own Ball and stuff like that. So like, I think we'd go towards like a Brig Zen, like a Brig Ana meta, which Ball is quite good against. So it really comes down to if it snowballs out. As soon as it becomes like meta enough, then I think people will lean into it and we'll just play it everywhere. And I want to state this. I actually really like this path of the developers. They were like, We've had enough of this like one tank that is unkillable shit. Let's like force a meta of like, let's make ball good. Let's make some of these heroes that haven't been played good. I don't mind them aggressively buffing things that haven't been played at all, as long as they're willing to nerf them in the middle of the season, or at the very least at the end of the season. If we have one season of Wrecking Ball, I don't think people are going to complain. People are going to complain if we have 3 seasons of Wrecking Ball, right? So if they're going to be aggressive with these buffs, they need to be aggressive with the nerfs, and that will give each season a sort of personality and sort of an identity of like, hey, this was a ball season and stuff like that.
Thinking about counterplay with Wrecking Ball and the Mines arming time, do the Mines arm at the perfect moment for you to nade beneath you as Ana? So if they mine slam, right? Are you in the air long enough for you to look down, nade your feet, and the mines delete?
I don't think anyone's done the math on this.
Yeah, no one's missed it.
Yeah, definitely. People definitely haven't done the math yet. But that would be like the only kind of counterplay. Like Brig can kind of bash out, but dude, how often are you going to be able to
it's also a bat, and it's a second, and like you have to have like not only very, very fast reactions, but like you have to get out of the whole radius. Like it's just crazy.
Exactly. Brig bash probably not going to get you out. Like Brig bash is longer than it was in Overwatch 1, but you're still probably going to get rolled. Also, good Wrecking Balls will literally insta ping pong back. They'll fucking grapple fireball one way, and then they'll instantly go back. Like Wrecking Ball players, they're freaks.
Yeah,
bro.
like
they're
a really good Wrecking Ball player will just roll.
I think you have to play Ana. Like I think the only way I can think I can deal with that is a support player is Ana. Yeah.
You need sleep, and you need the nade maybe. I would love to test that if you can quickly nade yourself or nade the floor where the mines are as soon as they come down. I wonder if the arm time is like quick enough for you to do that, because that would be like the counter players and Ana players.
Yeah, I mean, and then also it's just gonna
on a Brig or something. On a Brig,
maybe, maybe on a Brig.
Like
I mean, you could choose to also like hardcore backline race and do like some really wild, wacky shit with like Lucio. Like there's some options where like you choose. No, I mean, I don't think it's like particularly good, but I do think that like, let's say for example, like you're like, okay, we know they're gonna go for this. Let's just like hardcore backline race and see if we can't keep one of our supports alive with the Lucio. Like there's that option, I think, also too. Like there are some like alternative things that you could try to run, I think. But and also like, where does Sombra fit into that? With a Sombra buff, like the Sombra now a perma run because you need to have something that can like consistently potentially target the ball. Like,
I think it's Sombra Soldier. If I'm being honest, I think it's Sombra Soldier. Because what do you guys think of the? I was having this discussion with my stream. Do you think the Soldier buff onto a recoil is going to be that meaningful? Because it's at least going to raise the floor of Soldier like dramatically. They essentially mess with his recoil, so now the first 6 bullets are perfectly accurate instead of the first 4, and the recoil is reduced by. I actually don't have it up.
12%.
12%. Like I haven't shot with it yet, but that sounds like a lot. And we've seen Soldier have issues of like when they've made his recoil a lot easier to use, he became incredibly oppressive. And I already think Soldier is quite good as a hero.
Soldier, the recoil in Overwatch 2, did they nerf it from Overwatch 1? Because it feels easy to.
I mean, he had that stint where he was like mandatory playing like for the pro teams in early beta.
Yeah. I mean, because he definitely feels easier as a hero in Overwatch 2. It's definitely because there are less shields and shit like that. But man, this buff, especially with like damage boost and stuff, if damage boost is even played, we obviously discussed the supports a second ago, but it's dude, he is going to be frying people, like actually frying it. I think it's quite scary. Plus, obviously, Soldier can run away from ball. As much of a joke that is, like he's a harder DPS to lock down than like an Ashe or like a Cassidy or something. Very probable, and he does consistent damage too, which is what you need to kind of stave off the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah,
you can dynamite the ball short, and you can like, as Ashe, you can kind of just continually shoot at him, but ball is so like nimble and can get out of shots like super easily that Soldier is going to be easier to pin down a ball. I'm kind of in agreement with you, Scott, honestly. Like a Sombra Soldier kind of thing we got going on, maybe. Because then you also, Ana, you could fucking nano visor. So there's a lot of signs pointing to maybe Soldier Sombra being the thing. Because then Sombra hacks health packs away. Like, wow, yeah.
I also think Tracer, usually you would expect a Tracer to be in this spot, but I actually think Tracer's been struggling in a lot of ways, especially if Ana has 75 damage. I think that really hurts Tracer. Like, remember, Ana shoots for 75 now, so you can poke away the Tracer.
Yeah, but also with the Brig buff, Tracer also gets a buff as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So there is like, you do have the ability to make your Tracer a little bit more tanky, like in the fights.
And then she can also
So.
use the hack health packs with your ball. Well, that's I don't
The
know.
45-second health hack packs, hacked health pack, sorry, is quite big. Like 45 seconds is a long time for a pack.
Also, I think that honestly, that's almost what cements it for me, because if your Sombra denies all the packs early, your ball can't rotate around and take packs.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's like a huge aspect of this as well. So like, I kind of think that Sombra would have, if ball is meta, Sombra will have to be meta just as to deny him value. Like literally, will have to.
50. What is that? 50%.
It sounds overall like this is almost like a perfect sort of like seasonal patch, because it does change up the game like quite significantly. You know, we're missing that Kiriko Susu nerf that we've been wanting for a while, but we're sitting here on a podcast and like we have no real general direction for like what meta we're about to head into and what heroes will actually be strong, which is kind of what I guess we want. We want that kind of like mysterious week or two where we're like figuring things out, and is Ball going to be able to, you know, overpower Kiriko and Ramatra, or will we still play those two same heroes, which would not be great and be kind of boring. But, you know, there's still that kind of like a layer of mystery surrounding these patch notes, which I guess is what we want from these patches.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a good look from the devs, especially if they go into the mid-season patch, tweaking some of these numbers if they think some things are too oppressive. Like, I completely agree with what Scott said. If we have an entire season of like Wrecking Ball and like small variations of it, obviously ranked, it's random, like your teammates are going to play whatever. But if we have a more Wrecking Ball focused season, I wouldn't be too bothered about it.
I'm down to dive, bro. Let's dive for a season. We've been playing Brawl and getting shot by Sojins for like 3 seasons. I think everyone's kind of over it. Even if the meta kind of sucks in its own right, like anything is better than another season of what we've been doing.
And also, like, it's not like anything is going to become like incredibly overpowering as well. Like we're not introducing a Junker Queen or anything. Like, we made some pretty small changes, and I don't think any hero is like super out of control in the current state. So
also, Brig Anna is I don't know, maybe this is a hot take. Brig Anna is fucking fun in a 5v5 setup of like, you're kind of playing your own mini game of just stay alive, and it's like there's a lot of counterplay. Yeah, sometimes you're just gonna get rolled, but I think it's a fun meta to play as a support.
I'm gonna try Zen, see how that works out. I'll probably get crushed.
Okay, well, Jack, you remember how I said I want to do it with you? I'm out.
Oh, okay. Okay, fine. We'll play Brigana. Fine.
all right. So Custa, you said earlier we talked about patch notes and profiles and mercies and stuff. Do you have anything you want to add to that? You said you had something you wanted to add about, or we're just moving on?
I had someone come into my chat and made an interesting point about the SR system. And this could be relative to what Jack is saying of like, we have these people who are Plat and Diamond, like hitting like very high ranks. Someone was saying, and I have no answer to this truthfully, and I wonder if this is just like misinformation and I'm
Conspiracy.
Conspiracy theory, get my tinfoil hat on, is that it's easier to climb in this system than it has ever been. The only limiting factor is how much you play. And that if you just play a lot of games, there is not enough plateauing or degradation from losing games, that if you just keep winning games, you just keep going higher. And that's why we see a lot of people in Plat ending up in GM when it really feels like maybe they shouldn't be there, because they've just played enough games that they'll eventually climb.
Wait, is there any evidence behind this take, or is it just like anecdotal?
Well, it's like, not really. It's just from looking at, if you look at people's profiles as we go on, if you feel the people that you're playing with and that kind of stuff, it does feel like that sort of exists in some way. There have been some like pretty crazy cases of people hitting very, very high ranks on the ladder who really shouldn't be there, but they've just played like so many.
So remember
games.
how last episode we debunked that matchmaking thing where it was like, oh, there's no losers queue in the game, and
I prefaced this point with a lot of interest. I prefaced this that I'm spreading misinformation.
Regurgitating a Twitch chat member saying,
I looked into it. Jack, as someone else who has been here in this landscape, would you believe it if that was true? Can I give you my tinfoil hat for a second?
Oh my god, dude! I like actually.
What's the meme? Me when I spread misinformation? Yeah, like that's me right now.
I would believe it. Like, just the amount of games you can play. But I also think there's a lot of variance in it too, where there's not winners queue and losers queue. We know that.
Yeah,
we know that, right? But I mean, the support thing is a little bit of a symptom of how supports have been played recently. Like Mercy, for example, all you need to do, pocket the fucking hit scan player, you know? And like, if hit scan player good, you win. All good. So like the level of impact that you have versus like other metas where your supports, so like Brig Zen, Brig Ana, like a Lucio Ana, etc. The level of impact that you have when you are playing like Mercy just perma blue beaming is very different from the impact you have when you're playing an Ana Zen, which you are getting perma dove, like, and you have to be very good at aiming a Zen to kick people away, sure, but like do damage and like keep people off you, discording people, hiding around corners. Your positioning has to be fucking perfect. But like in recent metas, it really doesn't have to be. I can kind of see where that's coming from. I will take half of that tinfoil hat maybe and just say, yeah, you know, maybe it's the amount of games. I'm not 100% sure that's a person that works on the matchmaking.
Removing the conspiracy and the story, removing the storytelling surrounding this conspiracy and like trying to anecdotally justify it. The suggestion from this mysterious anonymous Twitch chat member that you decided to sort of echo here on the podcast now in an actual, like, you know, pretty large podcast, Johnny, that like speaks to the community. You're saying that over course of say 100 games, on average in those 100 games, you gain more SR than you lose, and therefore the more games you play, the more SR you get over time. You're saying there's a flaw in the
I don't think people are plateauing enough. Is my point, is that people aren't plateauing and the difference is if you just keep playing enough games, even if it is very marginal, you will eventually climb. And that's why if you've played 1,200 games all 3 seasons, then at some point you've probably end up at a higher SR than you probably should be, and the game's not degrading you enough. As I said, conspiracy theory Custa coming out. Like, this is like pure like flat earth material of like, I have sources, I made it up, bro. But I could see it being a thing, and that would explain a lot of the issues that I think has been existing within this matchmaker from time to time.
Okay. With that sort of in mind, if I'm just like, okay, I'm imagining that is real for a second, and I work on like the ranked matchmaking system, you know, at Blizzard, and like this is my job. I would be a little bit suspicious, and I can't believe we're going down this rabbit hole. I would be a little bit suspicious that by like season 3 of Overwatch, that we've gone from say like 5% of the player base are currently masters. I just made that 5% up. That like season 1, 5% of players are masters. And because people in metal ranks put in more time, suddenly now 8% of the player base is masters because you had more people play the game and there's less plateauing in the game. Like there are set, like it's a curve, right? Like most players are in the middle of the SR spectrum. And so what you're proposing is that this conspiracy flaw would lead to more people being above average in the SR distribution. I think that's fucking bonkers. Like, there's no way Blizzard can just like, we've increased the number of players allowed to be masters from 5 to 8% and everything is fine.
Well, I don't think they did it intentionally, is my point. They've changed the system and it's inadvertently had that. And because we are only so early in the seasons, that there are only very few people that are really skewing the distribution right now. So instead of 8% right now, it's 5.5% or something like that. And we will see that issue come on further. And can we move on?
So
I feel like
what the fuck is happening? What in the god? What are we talking about?
I feel like I'm just genuine. I'm defending something that I have no proof for.
All right.
Well, I'm just sitting. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here?
All right.
This segment.
Sort of moving away from the conspiracy take, I'm going to take, before we get on to the next topic, I'm going to take 1 or 2 minutes here to say that I am like amazed at what the developers have done like the past month or 2, and the communication they delivered, the blogs, the rapid change in approach, the content they've delivered. So, you know, we don't have ads on this podcast, but now YouTube chat, it's your time to say that I'm a paid shill here. But like, I even remember something as easy as like when they released the patch notes on Monday. I think they did it like via Stylosa or CarQ or something. They like used one of the content creators or whatever to post them on Monday instead of, you know, today or whatever. Like, I even remember when the hotfix went through like a couple of weeks ago, remember? And, you know, the small hotfix where there was like the roto changes or whatever. One of the like sort of like topics that were discussed within the community after that was actually like, hey guys, it's kind of weird that like Overwatch as a game, like we don't get the patch notes like in advance. Like they just show up at like the moment they drop at like whatever it is, 10-11 PST on Tuesday, and the game is live and the patch notes go live, and like we don't get a heads up where like so many other games to get like a heads up. Literally a week or two later for this season, they release the patch notes like at least a day in advance of the time they actually go live, so that the community and players can digest it before it's right there. The blogs we've been getting recently from like Aaron and stuff is like out of control, the amount of transparency. And you know what we're diving in next to here is actually the removal of map pools as well, responding to the community that like, hey, map pools were a mistake. We were wrong, and we're getting rid of map pools come season 4. It just feels recently, it's like dub after dub from the Overwatch developer team, and I'm just like shook that like this is actually where we're at. Like this is everything we as a community and player base could have hoped for. Like this is it. And if you're not like appreciating what the developers are delivering, like you're like missing out. Like this is awesome stuff. So next topic, map pools. Finally removed in season 4, and Aaron did say that like the reason they couldn't do it for season 3 is the patch was set already. The engineers, they had built the build for the game and they couldn't change it back then. But they did make the map pool decision for season 4 already. So they listened to the community. They responded to the feedback and said like, "Yo, we don't need map pools. We hear you. More variety. What do we think?"
Good. It's more variety, of course, in matchmaking, which is always nice. I never really enjoyed map pools. Like, how many, it's like 90 days a season, right? 3 months. So yeah, playing the same maps for 3 months does kind of get old, right? Quite quickly. But yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. I don't really know what more there is to say on the matter. Overall, bringing maps that we've not seen in a while, like Numbani, I believe. Yeah, I'm looking at the season 3 map pool right now. Like Numbani is in. Like, holy shit.
Wait, Numbani's in season 3? Oh, God.
Yeah, Numbani's in.
Yeah,
Oh,
Numbani
we're
is
back.
in. I know.
I can't wait for people to remember why they hated Numbani. It's one of those things.
Sucks. Like, first blows.
You guys hate Numbani?
The first point is awful.
No, first point is amazing in actual competitive play, but like in ranked, it's terrible.
No,
in ranked, it's very terrible.
Yeah, it's like a coin flip on whether or not you cap the first point. I feel like
first Numbani is a very hard map for ranked play, 100%. I mean, so is last, honestly, a lot of times, but I think Numbani. I personally
I'm happy
love
it's back.
Numbani.
You know,
I think Numbani is a very fun map, personally.
Does it say in there, Johnny? Now that they've removed map pool, well, when they remove map pools, if we're gonna have every version of the map, i.e., morning time, evening time. Is that the only other times? Morning, evening, night, morning, afternoon, whatever. I don't know if it says that, but like that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, it's good. I think it's a good change overall. I don't mind at all. Just more variety and ranked it always feels nice.
Would it be cringe if they did it so it's like the time zones where you can only get daytime maps during daytime and you can only have nighttime maps during nighttime IRL?
I think that would be fine. There's not massive variations in the maps anyway, like night and day. Like I don't know. There's
my immersion. It's dark outside. It's dark on my map. The immersion.
Oh yeah, but like, what about the fucking Aussies VPNing from? Well, I guess the VPN location, I suppose, right? But
anyway, map pools.
Leave us alone.
Yeah.
What? You don't VPN. You're in California.
That's true.
Map pools are good for competitive play. There you go. I don't think they're good for ranked.
Well, okay.
That is true.
The counterpoint is funny because in this blog post, Aaron sort of talks about it of like one of the reasons they didn't want to have all the maps available and they provided a map pool is because it can be overwhelming. Like how many maps are even in the game at this point? Like I think it's it's like 20 plus, 30 plus or something like that. So it can be overwhelming for new players. So that was one of the reasons. Aaron said, we accept that we were potentially wrong. So we're going to release it. But he even gave a dig at the people who were, complaining about it of like, if you guys come back complaining to me in 2 years, I swear to fucking God. Because like there's a lot of maps. Like, yeah, you're going to be playing something new every time, but people are also just going to be working out the map. It's not a problem for us, but for a lot of other people at lower ranks. Because they don't have enough time to play all the maps all the time.
Yeah, it's realistically, map pools make sense for those, like, when there's a clear objective, like, there is a reason to know the maps very well, to be focused on the maps, to, like, we have so much macro strategy to develop around the map. A map pool makes sense for stuff like the Overwatch League, or for, like, maybe even, like, a World Cup scenario, etc. For ranked play, like, yes, could it theoretically be overwhelming? But, I mean, sometimes life's overwhelming, so get over it.
True.
So I'm just like, guys, it's a map pool. Like at the end of the day, you're gonna be thankful that if you care about the game where you enjoy playing it, you'll learn the maps, and you'll be thankful you have the variety. Versus like, I have now invested in the game, I've learned all the maps, and now I have like 3 maps to play, and I'm like, this isn't fun. Now I have to wait till the next season. You know, like it's overall, it is inherently a better good, and it's better for someone to initially that's a newbie be slightly overwhelmed than it is to like, you know, because like if someone likes the game and is slightly overwhelmed, they'll just play more of it. If someone's overwhelmed but they don't like the game, they won't play it regardless. They won't play more of the game regardless, you know? I'm sure there's probably like a marketing, like there's probably data to back that up. Like I imagine somewhere they have to have some sort of data that correlates like how much like, you know, like what are our focus groups saying? Like how much does someone play of X amount total before they choose to continue the game versus not playing the game? But realistically, from my point of view, I don't think map pools are relevant at all to a non-professional basis. I don't think they need it in any way. Unless you literally have like 300 maps. If they have 300 maps, they might have to reintroduce map pool. I'm not gonna lie. Well, if we go into the game like for another like 10 years, you might have to have a map pool because like how the fuck
just
are you going to
retiring
initially
maps?
know everything?
Like when they get enough push maps, retire Coliseum. Get that shit out of the mode, right? And it's the same thing with like other ones of like maybe one of the days Nabani goes to the farm and it just, you know, it disappears because it is one of the worst hybrid. But once we get enough maps where you can start retiring maps, like that is good.
I'm going to be a little bit cheeky. I'm going to be a bit cheeky here and say something I don't truly believe. But I'm going to post a question.
Well, why even say it? I'm going to
ask a question because I'm the host. And I
want to start a conversation.
Sorry, yeah. It's not a statement, it's a question right here. All right. So, if potentially you are arguing that a lot of maps can be disorienting and it can be a lot of information, especially if you're a new player, you're trying to pick up Overwatch, and so you want it to be a new friendly experience. Now, for new players, they already changed the system going into Overwatch 2. But if you get to that point where you have too many maps in the game and it's a bit disorienting, couldn't you kind of make the same argument as it relates to heroes? And if you're new, there are so many heroes in the game that it's kind of like disorienting to learn all these heroes at once. And so if we get too many heroes, would you be able to make the argument that we'd have hero pools in the future?
No, because, and here's the reason why. I'm going to tell you why. Because the heroes are already going to be gated. Because they're going to be gated behind paywalls. So it literally, like, unless you purchase the heroes, it like is an irrelevant issue to you. They're already gating the heroes.
Oh, I meant like queuing in.
I thought that sounds working.
If you're queuing in,
you just do a challenge. If you want Kiriko, like, and you didn't get her in the battle pass, you do like a bunch of support games, and it'll unlock her. I think.
Oh, for somebody, my understand, I must have a flawed misunderstanding because I was under the impression that after Kiriko's release, all the heroes were going to be like haunted.
I don't believe you will ever have to pay for a hero unless you want the one that's in the current battle pass. We have to, and even
like I'm saying, like they're gated behind the battle pass levels, right? Technically, they're still gated behind the battle pass, like that level is a progression. Like there's still going to be a gate of some sort. We're going to have to play a decent amount of the game.
After that season, then like, so there is no hero that is unavailable to anyone through a paywall, right? In this season, because there's no new hero coming out. So you can unlock Kiriko through a challenge. As far as I'm aware, as I said, I haven't personally done it.
Yeah, but isn't that just for Kiriko? I thought they were changing that system moving forward with other hero releases. I might be totally misinformed.
I thought it was just leveling. I'm pretty sure it's just leveling, and they're like to get the heroes. Like once you do the like system of like, I have done the system of like, you have a new account, you get all the heroes slowly, and then you get, I think Echo's one of the last, and then I think at that point you can start to get the new Overwatch 2 heroes through a challenge. I just said I haven't experienced it. Someone else would have, but it's not a paywall.
Okay. Yeah, I might be misremembering then, but because I thought they said something about like after Kiriko's release, the system would change. But I don't. Maybe that might just be a complete false memory that's in me, like a literal
typical Plat chat moment of not understanding the
spreading
novice,
misinformation.
The novice Overwatch.
Yeah, this might be a misinformation moment. But either way, I mean, regardless of that, that's still gated then because you still have to progress by playing.
No, I meant more like queuing against, like the League of Legends syndrome, where like you queue into a game of League of Legends and you're like, I don't know what the fuck the enemy team does because like I've seen their characters like once. Anyway, I regret asking the fucking questions. I want to move on. I want to puke.
There's nothing. It's a good question. It's a good question.
Yeah.
It's because it's a question that's not fundamental only to Overwatch. It's a question that's fundamental to any MOBA-esque game. And the reality is, I don't really know if there is an easy solution other than like you must play X amount of the game to understand the basics, and then you just have to learn because like we don't have the Neuralink. We can't beam the information to your fucking brain and instantly. Like there's really no way to solve that other than gating certain parts of it.
I have the Ramantra challenge on an alt of mine. You have to complete all challenges to unlock Ramantra, 7 of 7.
What challenge? What are the challenges?
The challenges are, is it all of them? Yeah. So wins Ramantra, win 35 games, queued as all roles. Sure. Playing as tank heroes in quick play, competitive or no limits. Or playing as tank. So all roles or tank, 35 wins. Eliminate 3 bots with Void Accelerator in practice range as Ramantra.
Yeah, it's literally just stuff that makes you use the abilities.
Practice range. Every single challenge apart from win 35 games queued as all roles or playing tank is
okay. So like, but there still is it's still a gate of like they're gating it behind time played. You know, like they're still like, but okay, but I am rescinding the pay aspect.
And actually,
but
I've loaded into the hero in practice mode before doing it in my ranked games.
Yeah.
That's epic.
So like I still think, but that's the only solution you can do. Like the only solution you can do is gating it to an extent. You have to gate it to an extent because like you have to learn the basics. Character. Yeah.
And like this is actually a lot more forgiving than other games. Like Valorant takes forever to unlock like all the agents and like play that kind of time. But
the Valorant challenges take a
Apex and Valorant actually have a similar issue that I think Overwatch with the free-to-play model and the amount of content they're releasing, which is a good problem to have for Overwatch, is that it's very overwhelming to come back to the game if you take time off. Like I didn't play Valorant for like 2 years, came back and there were like 4 new agents, 3 new maps, and it's just really frustrating when you're just like don't know what's going on. So I think that's an issue that Overwatch is going to have.
Convoluted as fuck unlocking a fucking thing. Like you activate the contracts and shit like that. Maybe I'm just dumb and I've not played Valorant in a long time either, but logging on and seeing like, okay, so I have to select that contract to unlock that fucking character and I have to progress through all this shit and then get maybe the character. Like, dude.
I don't know how Valorant players feel like queuing into a game of Overwatch and like learning a Ramantra or something. But like the first time I saw Bren play Astra or something, I was like, they're in the fucking sky and they're popping down stars and then they're like pulling people into a gravity well and like there's tons of shit going on. Obviously, like you learn what Astra is doing over time, but like on a surface level.
I mean, that's just the syndrome of new character. You've not fucking seen it before.
Yeah, it's just new information. You have to put in effort to learn things. You know, I think, it's like that's how it goes.
I think Valorant learned that idea too. They were just like, we're gonna release Harbor. You have Tsunami. You push forward.
He's a very easy character.
Smoke with armor. Like, okay, we got it. It's a bit easier to understand. Anyway, one small nice little note here as well is the map frequency. Some people were like, I get push modes all the time. So Aaron did disclose here that when it comes to them deciding what map you're actually going to play, it did factor in the game modes you've been playing as well. So they want to have a fair distribution. I don't know what the numbers obviously, but a fairer kind of distribution between hybrid maps and control maps and push maps, etc. So you actually get to play all the different game modes. Well, this led to, if you have an even distribution of push maps that you've played, well, there's fewer push maps, and so therefore you're going to play the push maps more frequently, because there's only so many push maps. So they are going to sort of look into that and change that so you get queued into Colosseo and those
hopefully
maps a little bit less. So
hopefully Colosseo less.
Yeah. So that'd be a nice
I like push. I hate Colosseo. I think push is a good game mode, but Colosseo is just a trash map. True and true. So I think I hope that we get more
the Horizon Lunar Colony of push.
Yeah. I hope that I think push gets a bad rap because of Colosseo, but I actually think it's an interesting game mode, and I'm actually excited to see their new game mode they're coming out with. Aaron teased it in, I think it was that dev blog post or something like that, which should hopefully add a little bit more variety to everything.
That'd be cool.
Did I miss that? I did see the you and bantering with Captain Planet on Twitter. I guess that was it or something. No, I don't know what's going on.
It was in one of the blog posts. I talked about it.
Yeah. Just quickly, here's the map pool for season 3, if you were wondering. So, a nice little image. Thank you for that. Yeah, no Jib, no Route 66, no Hollywood, no Icon.
Havana back in the map pool. Okay.
Yep. And nobody. So, there we go.
Cool.
Nice. All right. Holy shit. I feel so. It's amazing that this one season dropped and we've been had like 1 hour 40 minutes of content right here.
What to talk about?
Now moving on to Avast's favorite segment of the day, borpaBusiness. Activision Blizzard's fourth quarter earning report. Here we go, everyone.
Could you link that in the chat, Johnny? 'Cause
obviously.
the stream is like hella pixelated for me.
All right. Well, I mean, I am broadcasting to Twitch as I'm broadcasting to you guys. I've tried. And
I know,
also,
yeah.
I did try to actually upscale it to 1080p. So you remember last episode where I was like, oh, I increased you guys' cameras to 60 FPS instead of 30 FPS. Well, I broadcasted in 30 FPS, so the broadcast couldn't tell a freaking difference because I still broadcast in 30 FPS.
And our eyes can only process 30 FPS, right?
Yeah.
Scott
Why is Scott black and white?
Oh shit! Oh no! Okay, I opened OBS. 1 second, sorry.
Open OBS.
What have you been doing?
Johnny reminded me I needed to look at something, so I was gonna.
Oh, okay.
Is it fixed?
No, but I did. We did want to bring up the quarterly report, not for borpaBusiness circumstances, but because the results were actually like really good. So if you were wondering whether the free-to-play model is working, whether people are buying skins, the quote was, "Free-to-play model delivered the highest quarterly figures for play numbers and hours played in Overwatch history." So here you go. Successful game, everybody. We're doing it. You might not like the fact that skins are, very expensive, and I think John addressed it in the SVB podcast as well. That like, hey, this is actually like our way to make money from Overwatch as a game, and so they're trying to get it more in line. But the statistical numbers are looking good for Overwatch, and the game is quote unquote successful and doing well. So all things considered, that's great news for us and everybody involved in the Overwatch scene and players of the game. So
I think as a whole, a lot of us get down about like our Twitch numbers and like we're not the most popular like esport and like the most popular game, but I think people would be surprised with how successful it is on a casual level and how many people just like love the game. So Overwatch is going to do well, and everything that the developers have been saying is about the long term as well, right? Like they want to create a long-term sustainable product that will continually release content and people just play over time. So if they can keep up the level of content they're releasing right now in season 1, 2, and 3, keep up the communication, keep pushing it in the right direction, Overwatch will be around for a while. And I think that's an exciting prospect because we were doomer for a very long time in the last few years.
Yeah,
but the console numbers are ridiculous too. I wouldn't be surprised if the console numbers have just fucking popped off. Like free games on console, I feel are probably more lucrative than free games on PC. A lot more people, like especially the casual audience, be playing on console. I know Europe is still like very, or at least, sorry, the UK at least is very console focused. A decent portion of the European market. So yeah,
good stuff. I mean, it's overall what exactly you wanted to see from a launch of a free to play model. You want to see people engaging. You want to see people spending money in the game, even though I know that's sacrilegious to say of like, oh, spending money in my free-to-play game? And it's like, yeah, you don't have to, but some people will if they see value in it. And that's the whole point, is like driving the value for where people will spend it. And, it is, if you want the game to succeed, the reality is in a current market, it has to be a free-to-play model that brings value to the users to want to spend money. And it's good. So it's like it's hitting all the points that you want it to hit. So it's like it's a positive growth outlook for Overwatch 2.
Yeah, I'll just read.
Doesn't necessarily make it the greatest game on earth, but it means that it's a positive trajectory.
I'll read the quote here in the earnings report as well for all the borpaBusiness people out there. The October launch of Overwatch 2 with a free-to-play model delivered the highest quarterly figures for player numbers and hours played in Overwatch history. Player investment is also off to a strong start with fourth quarter in-game net bookings at the highest level to date for Overwatch. The team is working on an ambitious slate of regular season updates, including PvE content to engage and expand the community, as well as other ways for new and existing players to experience the Overwatch universe longer term. So, very surface level stuff, what we already know, but this is for all the people, sitting on Wall Street and pressing up and down all the time. So there you go. They don't really need to know about map pools and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm also curious to see sort of like the snowball effect from this. And I'm not saying either that Overwatch is gonna become like the greatest game on earth, but like it's very real that like negative momentum can snowball into like desperate horrible feelings of momentum, but positive momentum can also spur further additional positive momentum. And so an easy thing like One Punch Man collaboration can lead to other collaborations because brands acknowledge that like, hey, Overwatch is doing some cool One Punch Man collaboration. What if we did that? What if we worked with Overwatch? And so similarly, a good vibe and atmosphere surrounding the Overwatch game can lead to a further increased appreciation of Overwatch and expand the player base and expand everything that goes on within the community as well. So it's good to know at least that we have some good momentum in our favor, and hopefully it leads to even more opportunities and even better things to come.
And it's growth too. It's also just as a final point for me from a data perspective. It's like specifically in that report, it says that like in season 1, it was like there's like around like 20. I think it was around like 25 or like 30 million like players, something like that. Season 2 had 40 million. That's like it's a growth. Like that's the thing to think about is that like it's not just about like okay, are the numbers good? Is there like a growth trajectory per se? And that's the important part for like when you think about like the decisions made there. And once again, also though we've made this point a lot of times, like unfortunately, my fellow millennials / old heads, if you are late 20s to mid 30s and you grew up playing Overwatch 1 and that was your big game, unless you're like a huge super fan, like the reality is it's very possible that you just might not be an Overwatch 2 fan, and maybe you're not the target demographic compared to the Gen Z demographic either, which is like a very big burgeoning, like it's a very big base to potentially target new customers for the game to grow. Like that's something else to also just keep in mind. And even though it sucks, it's like, yeah, guess what, bitch, we're all getting older. So you can still, but that also doesn't preclude you from like liking the game. You can still like the game, but it's possible you could just age out of demographic they're targeting. So
yeah. No, I agree. Like I think too many people are like, oh, Overwatch 1 did this and it was fine. It's like the times have changed. We're 7 years past that moment. The landscape of video games and the way they function are gone. And we've talked about this to death, but I think what Overwatch is doing is relevant. I think it's good. Yeah, everything's popping up. And realistically, I think the one thing that will keep Overwatch 2 successful and Overwatch as a franchise and IP is the PvE. And we get that at the end of the year. And that might be a catalyst towards the IP like absolutely skyrocketing. Could also just suck. And then like everything from Overwatch sort of struggles. So hopefully we get to more positive things towards the end. So it's not just like, oh, here we are. Now let's hope we have a steady trajectory. There's something to look forward to in the future of this year as well.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. We got one final closing topic before we go as well. We got some more information regarding the Overwatch World Cup wildcard, which we, of course, we're waiting to hear more about. As we already know, Denmark and Finland were, of course, going to be favorites to come out of this wildcard. But we also find out the other countries participating in this quote-unquote wildcard for the World Cup. So they invited Ireland, Portugal, Switzerland, and the United Arab Emirates. So I believe the quote was like these countries were on the cusp of the population cutoff thing that they used to establish the nations invited to the group stage system in the first place, the qualifier system in the first place. And so these were like the next countries below that cutoff point, and that's how they determined these 6 countries. So it's a wildcard qualifier, but we're still missing a few countries that have pretty strong communities. I'll mention
this
Israel,
isn't a qualifier. Why run a qualifier if it's not just open for people to compete in? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Does that become difficult from a logistics if you just let anyone play because of like pings and servers, or do you just like it's a wild card? These are our
it's
rules.
a wild card. That's your problem.
Yeah,
it's your problem, right? Like that's my opinion on it. It's like if people want to complain, that's on them. Like that, like guys, guess what? Yeah, it's a wild card. Like you might not get like a perfect environment to compete in. Like that is unfortunate, but like you're getting the opportunity to compete. But like I think removing the ability for teams to compete entirely seems weird to me. Like why would you've just made another group. You haven't like it's a wild card group to like qualify, but like why not just run an actual open qualifier? Like I think it defeats the purpose of like what we gave a lot of prop for it last for. It was like, okay, like they're getting the wild card, that's fine because they're gonna make it through. But like, you know, all the people that they excluded, like that because their player numbers and the various logistics behind it like mean that they weren't really eligible to make it into a main stage group, which makes sense for various reasons. They'd get their chance, but like they're really not getting their chance. Like I don't understand why would you have an invited wildcard qualifier? Just make it open to all teams and countries, or all teams and countries to go participate. Like even if there's not going to be perfect, like and I understand also the alternate argument to that because like depending on how they run the wildcard, I don't know how they're going to run it per se, but like maybe they want it all to be super polished. So like we don't want to spend that money to make the wild card like this perfectly open land and have to get all these teams there, like, and the logistics behind that, it could be difficult.
Well, this isn't going to be
But
a
then-
LAN, right? The wild card.
No. I'm just talking about like all the logistics for the product for like the wild card itself, like
Yeah.
everything they have to get in place for it. Like there's a lot of moving pieces for stuff like that. So like
Yeah.
there is a reason for why they might not, but at the same time, it's like if you're gonna run a World Cup, maybe you should
Let the
have the
world
opportunity.
play.
Let the world compete in the World Cup.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Like I absolutely I agree with Avast. Like that would be in the perfect world, everyone would get a chance. But like at the end of the day, like logistics are logistics, and it can be difficult to run these things to the quality that you were saying. And at the end of the day, like what country is missing that is probably gonna make the top 16? Right, like, and at the end of the day, everyone wants to represent their country, but for Blizzard as a whole, the top 16 is really the thing that they're looking for. They just want the 16 best teams because that's where they're going to invest all their resources. So it's like, I think Austria, like Psycho, was one of the people who came out and was like, it really sucks that I can't represent my country, and I get that, and I really do. But it's like, realistically, was Austria going to make it through the wild card and then make it out of the groups? Maybe not. So it's like for Blizzard, it's like, well, where do we draw the line? I think the true solution should be a vast of like, if it really isn't that important, just give them subpar conditions. Don't feel like you have to hit a standard. Just let everyone have a chance, because then at least people can say, well, we tried, right? And then they can feel included in some way rather than ostracizing some countries of the world.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I do think it's a logistical nightmare to just be like, well, Blizzard has the responsibility to confirm like the validity of all these teams participating, and like that the representatives when it comes to like general managers and coaches and like all these people can in some way be trusted. And I'm not saying that anyone isn't to be trusted, but I'm saying that like there is logistics going into that, and organizational, and like some kind of like, yeah, there's stuff going into that. I would have liked to see some kind of open qualifiers still being played, and to see these teams organize and like play something out, and then you can do like the logistics afterward to confirm that everything was done in the right way, and that like the team that qualified, they're actually valid, and that everything is in order. At least give them a chance, just like because how is this going to be organized? Like surely they'll use like one of the many esports systems that are like you can go and sign up to some website like Game Battles, and like
I mean CDL and
right?
stuff like that. They can probably just get an outside person to just run the entire experience. Like they've been working with the Esports Engine to run all the major events, and I'm sure Esports Engine could could just like devise the whole process. Honestly,
Probably.
Yeah. So
Thank God Denmark and Finland are in here. Holy shit!
Yeah, I mean, they obviously were going to make this cut for the wild card. Like, of course, they would make of course, like all the countries you see here would make sense to like, okay, they would be invited to a wild card, but it's still like there are other countries that you can just be like, okay,
the line's always going to move, right? The goalposts will always move. Whenever you set a cutoff, someone is going to be upset that they're on the other side.
Exactly. Yeah.
It sucks. Like it does suck. And if you're a player from one of those countries that won't be represented and won't have a chance to participate in the World Cup, like,
yeah, it feels bad.
Straight up sucks. It really does. And I mentioned Israel already, because I think Israel in 2018, 2019 had like pretty fun campaigns where like there's teams would show up to qualifiers, and actually they'd put a lot of time and effort and energy into their team, and
Didn't they show up to BlizzCon? I feel like I remember meeting multiple players who came up to me in 2019 being like, I came from Israel to like try and qualify through the wild card that was at BlizzCon.
I don't remember if it was at BlizzCon. I do remember meeting some of them at like a Santa Monica qualifier in 2017, I think. So they've been around that. They've gone to participate before, but that's just an example of like a country that they have an Overwatch community, and very legally wants to compete, right? So would they have made it out? I don't fucking know, but that's that's not the point. I think some people would have liked to see an open qualifier, but yeah, it sucks, dude. I don't know. Yeah.
It's just, I mean, there's the only positive way to spin this is at least Denmark and Finland are here. So, fantastic news. So,
yeah. At least there was a wild card, right? Like,
yeah, sure.
All right.
But maybe in the future.
Gentlemen.
Maybe in the future.
Gentlemen. That's season 3 starting today. Yeah. What an insane seasonal patch. I'm just stoked that our game is alive, man. Really, I'm just having a moment. I'm just excited our game is like amazing. Our developers are amazing. We're doing like live streams with content creators talking about balance. We're releasing blogs. We're communicating. We're we're doing collaborations. Like, this is it. This is a dream. This is what we asked for years upon years, and it's here. Take a deep breath. Enjoy. Think of something that makes you happy. Yeah, great stuff. Bren's Player of the Week. What are we doing, guys? What are we doing?
Oh.
By the way, oh my god,
did you see
I
the
forgot
Reddit
to
thread?
address this. The fucking Reddit post. The fucking Reddit post.
Oh, yeah.
Where- oh my god, the open letter to Plat chat.
I told you,
read the
I
first
did tell
half
you
of it,
guys.
and I was like,
Is it
"Damn, we're
open
getting
letter to
fucking
Plat
roasted."
chat?
And then they had me in the first half. I did get baited.
I told you guys that they would bring this up because Bren had given this to everyone. You know,
You
Like, he
suggested
stated
Rush. You were the one who immediately suggested
don't
Rush.
back-
no.
Bury
No,
us.
but no. I suggested it, but then I also brought up the thing that I was like, well, Bren technically gave they gave the award to anyone that had ever been married as well. I brought up both points. The thing is, I suggested Russ because I'm lazy. I couldn't think of anything else. But like that's like I still brought up that opposing.
I blame you as someone who has been a regular part of Plat Chat, both podcasts, both Valorant and Overwatch, and you didn't acknowledge this rule when you proposed Rush. I put
did
my
acknowledge
faith in
the
you,
rule.
Avast. I put my faith in you, and you still suggested someone that was ineligible for the award.
I acknowledged it. I just ignored it. I just ignored the rule. I acknowledged the rule. I just chose to ignore
Me
it.
when
as
I'm
well.
rebelling against the Plat Chat Brent's Player of the Week rules.
Yeah, crazy.
I don't know. I don't even know. I'm trying to think of like someone to.
I show up
here.
here, Avast. I show up
I
here.
know-
I put together a script. I produce. I try to give some decent points. And what do? You throw me under the bus with fucking Rush. You throw me under the bus proposing someone.
Well, technically, I threw
that was
everyone under
ineligible
the
for the
bus.
award.
That's true. I feel I
threw
just
everyone
show
under
up
the
as
bus.
well, and I'm
Not
also
just
Us
insulted.
too.
Okay, I think we should give it to the Mercy population because I feel like this is a formal apology from me representing Jack. You know, Jack gets a little heated when he talks about Mercy from time to time, but also as just like it's like a consolation of, you know, it's gonna be okay. I don't know. Like at this point, that it's the most controversial thing that's happened this week is that the Mercy community is shutting down.
Shutting
Oh,
down.
shutting
We could
down.
get
They're
Rising
shuttering
Up
it.
Legacy shutting
And then we
down.
can put Hogwarts Legacy in the corner of the thumbnail.
Sorry, you want to give Hogwarts Legacy Brent's Player of the Week?
Hey, we'd get clicks.
No. We can't. He said in the corner of the thumbnail to generate for the algorithm.
Yeah, the algorithm.
Chat. Everyone calm down. Everyone calm down in chat. I know right now people they're going losing their mind. He's doing it for the algorithm. You have to understand. Anything
Yeah.
for views, chat.
Anything.
Ad revenue's
Sometimes you're
down.
gonna sell out.
We gotta get some ad revenue in here. Okay, so
Yeah.
I mean, I would also be fine to give it to like Cupid Hanzo / Overwatch pornographers, like, you know,
Yeah.
those are also
Yeah, you know,
good.
they've carried us for many years. I think
carried us
the
through the
Overwatch
dark
Rule
days.
34, we could
Yep.
give it to that community.
I am putting my fucking foot down. We ain't giving this
what?
fucking award to the Mercy
Give it to
community.
Paul.
We're
Fuck
not
it.
giving the Brent's Player of the Week to Hogwarts Legacy. We sure as hell ain't giving fucking Brent's Player of the Week to some Rule 34 Overwatch stuff. No fucking shot, dude. Jesus Christ, there needs to be some
I miss
player
Bren.
that have achieved
Johnny
something.
hates artists, huh?
Yeah,
fucked up.
that's what I just said.
Oh,
That's
we're pulling
fucked
the
up.
artist card now. Oh,
Can't believe it.
you know, Johnny's not taking
Can't
care of our
believe it, man.
artist. Okay, we're
That's
pulling that
crazy.
card now. I see how it is.
That's
I
really
see how it
fucked
is.
up.
No, there seriously needs to be something more relevant.
We could give it to the developers, but didn't we do that at some point?
I feel like we've done that a lot.
I think we've done that a lot recently, so I don't really want to give
Anime
it to
fan.
I
Give it to
mean-
anime fans, One Punch Man fans.
It's-
Yeah, One Punch Man. Let's
No,
give it to One Punch Man.
weebs, not weebs. No.
Let's give it to
No.
one. Saitama, let's go. Come on, let's give it to One Punch Man. Thank you for the
That's a good
collaboration.
one.
We're
That's a good
mainstream
one.
now, baby.
Yep. We are mainstream. We got mainstream collabs. We're relevant, kind of.
Yeah. Weebs rise up. Weebs rise up.
So
It's Jinmu playing Genji.
let's go.
Yeah.
God, it's like
What are you watching? No, fuck Jinmu. That's too relevant to Overwatch. Okay, we don't give that to.
But this isn't even like this is just him playing ranked. There's nothing
Yeah.
to like. There's nothing
What do
here.
you-
It's just him
Thank
playing
you,
Jinmu
ranked.
for playing ranked.
It's like he's very good. Yeah, I know. We know Jinmu's very good at Genji, but like
Oh,
You
you
can't-
don't
you can't-
appreciate some off-season Jinmu?
you can't get a
Give it to the
Player of
weebs.
Week award for
Johnny,
that.
stop trying to fight it. Give it to the Weebs.
Yep. The
I have an
Weebs
idea.
One.
No.
idea.
God.
What is your idea?
We're tangentially giving it to the developers, but we're giving
No.
it specifically
No.
Specifically-
Ah.
to the one who made it so you can fish on the new map.
Okay. Oh wow.
I mean, sure,
I
but
do
I
like
think
that.
We didn't
I'd
actually
almost
discuss
be
the new
more.
map, but you know.
I'd be more willing to give it to Weebs.
It's a good map.
Yeah.
Wait, so
I haven't
we're just
played the
giving it
map,
to
so I don't
Weebs
really know
in
how to
general?
feel about the map.
Just in general weebs? Or is
Yeah,
there
I think
anything...
Weebs. I think
They
Weebs in
won.
general.
They won.
yeah.
They won.
Yeah.
They won. There we go. Yeah.
They won.
Weebs, everybody.
Plat chat, episode 163. Brent's play of the week is weebs. Are weebs.
Hell yeah. Whatever
Everyone-
happened
all
to the
weebs.
controversial segment where we used to read the worst take, the hot take of the week or something like that?
Oh my fucking god. I was actually
You
staring
forgot.
at it, but I did not want to bring it up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what? Come on, Johnny.
Is
come
it bad?
on,
How's it looking? We've had some good ones in there.
We did.
Look, it's not a Reddit take, but it is a Twitter take.
Oh, is
What
this
is this?
awkward? Oh yeah, dude. He had some fire
From
tweets the
Awkward
other day.
Overwatch. The average player
Yeah.
will complain when there is a quote-unquote smurf on the enemy team, while a great player will be excited to play against someone who is better.
Oh my god.
Challenges
Bro, is
are
that
a necessity
IO
for
Stux?
learning and self-improvement.
awkward.
Accept them and climb the ladder, or complain and stay in Plat.
Based.
I don't know. I don't know why some people just don't realize that people play video games for fun. Like, some people aren't trying to become a grandmaster fucking pro player. People just sometimes log on for an hour a week and don't give a fuck about climbing out a Plat.
I don't think the tweet is aimed at those people though.
Yeah, it is.
Or the average
Isn't
Andy.
Awkward notoriously like an unranked to GM content creator?
Is he?
No.
I think so.
Or are they?
He's
I don't
like
know.
a-
Like,
he's
it's
a
like
rank
the
one
thing is,
gamer.
like, it's just not fun to play against a smurf.
so.
If you are just a casual player, you are a gold Andy, and someone from GM comes down and just fucking booty bops you, and you don't get to play the game, and you only play
It kinda
2 hours
sucks,
a
yeah.
week. That's not fun.
My favorite reply to this tweet was when people started rationalizing, like in other sports or other scenarios, where it's like, oh, dude, oh man, I'm so grateful to play against Messi so I can learn more about football and how to be a better football player. It's like,
That's quite funny. Man, I'm
no,
so glad
like,
Proper is
me
in
trying
goal.
to play football for fun, and Messi comes in and just like destroys our game. I mean, that would be kind of
God, that would be a
but,
good
yeah.
piece of content, though.
Yeah,
It
but
would
you
be,
get the
yeah.
Like
point.
they bring out like Messi out, and he just like demolishes a kid's soccer team. Like that would be like incredible.
Me trying to improve at wrestling, and Dave Bautista comes out and
Yeah.
wrestles against me. Yeah.
Fucking try to play basketball against LeBron James. Like, it's just not a fun time. Like,
I don't know. That was the dumbest take I've read in the offseason, so love to see it. And Josh said it was based. I don't know what to make of this. Anyway, Plat Chat episode 163. Sorry I was a bit all over the place today, but you know. I
Oh,
hope you
he
guys
does
still
just
enjoyed
spam unranked to GM. That is cringe. All right, that's kind of cringe. All right, go on. Sorry, end the episode.
yeah.
End the episode.
We'll see you guys for the next episode. Thank you for being on, guys. I'm looking forward to season 3. It's going to be a good time. Goodbye.